Welcome to the Cherry Picker, the horror movie podcast where we like to kill people, but not really. I'm your host, Zach Cherry, and with me is.
I'm Tim McKay, makeup artist by day and co-host by night.
Ooh. And today we are talking about Scream 3 Redux. And this is part of our road to Scream 7's release. It is coming out in, I get 38 days uh, by the time this airs, or 37 if you're counting
Woo.
the Thursday previews. We were just having a whole conversation about why they don't just count that as the actual release date. But
Mm-hmm.
Scream 3 re was released February 4th, 2000. So coming up on 26 years here.
Or was it actually
Um,
February 3rd on a
no,
Thursday?
it would have been the 4th because they didn't do the previews until years later, I
Mm-hmm.
believe.
So it was officially February 4th, 2000.
Yes. I have a recollection because you know how like nowadays like Scream 4 has the 4 instead of the A and
Mm-hmm.
Scream 6. I just like the ways you get like Screeforum and Screevy as we called Scream 6 or 5 Cream even though there's no 5 in Scream 2022. But I have this recollection of Scream 3 having a poster where there was a 3 in place of the E. Am I just like misremembering that? Like, is this an
Hmm.
actual thing? Could someone please confirm or deny?
I personally don't remember any of the promotion until Scream 4. I think that was like which had very little promotion. But yeah, I didn't like I
Yeah.
wasn't aware of the Scream movies, I think, until after Scream 3 had already come out.
So you didn't see Scream 3 in the theater.
No, no. I know I definitely saw a Scary Movie before I even saw Scream. And that was like I think that came out in 2000.
Okay.
Um yeah, so I probably didn't see Scream until at least like 2002.
Yeah. Scream 3 was the first one I saw in the theater. And it should have been two. I've told this story before, but I'm gonna tell you again
Tell it.
because there might be new people here. But yeah, when Scream 2 came out, and this is like me as a child, well, like what I would have been 12 at the time, I believe,
Hmm.
if this was December 1997. And Ontario, because this is like in Toronto, like Ontario, like movie ratings and stuff was like were different. Because like I think in the US, like you have to, it's R, so you have to like have a parent with you and you can go see it.
Hmm.
But their like classification was just like 18 or something like that. Like I could not go in at all. They would not let me. I was with my mom because this was me, like
Mm.
12 years old, being like, Mom, I really want you to take me to go see Scream 2. And she was like, okay, yeah, like we're gonna go. And I remember going and there was all like these like grown-ups and they're probably like 18 or in their early 20s, but they seemed like mature, sophisticated people
Hmm.
to me. But they're all going into Scream 2 and the ticket kiosk person was just like, no, he's too young. And we were sent away, but then I think we went to see
Ah.
Spice World instead, much to my mother's chagrin, because I think she probably would have enjoyed Scream too, but Spice World not so much.
What a
So
letdown though.
that unfortunately was the thing, and then I wasn't able to see Scream 2 until it came out on VHS. But yeah, Scream 3 was not the same case, and I think we made like it was like a friend's birthday, and we just made a a date of it, like a whole group of us.
Did you see the Scream movies in order? Like, had you seen Scream 1 first and then Scream 2? Like, did you see all the movies in order for the
Oh,
first time?
absolutely. Yeah.
Okay, because I
If
think
you're
I
not
saw.
doing it that way, you're doing it wrong,
Well,
Tim.
I think I was like 10 years old. Like, I saw Scary Movie. I remember that, and then I watched Scream 2 because of Sarah Michelle Gellar, and then I watched Scream.
Hmm.
So I was like,
Yeah.
so I had no idea what was going on with like Maureen and like the that whole plot. I had no idea
Yeah.
why why people were mad in the first place. I just thought it was a fun
Who's this Mo
movie.
Prescott and why is everyone claiming to have killed her?
Yeah, right? Why are they calling her
Um,
such a slut?
yeah.
No. Let her live.
Yeah, the Halloween movies I saw out of order, but I think Scream just because I was it came out around the time that I was that age that it just like by the very nature of that, I just saw them as they came out. Like I saw the first one
Hmm.
like on VHS. Actually, it was like my birthday, and I've told this story before, but it's other people there had seen it and they spoiled it, but I still enjoyed it all the same.
That's
And
right.
then yeah,
Spoiled.
from that point on, it was just all of them as they released in the theater. Soon to be seven now. Which actually, can we talk about Scream 7?
Oh
Because
my God, I would love to. Yeah.
last week, and I want to get the opinions of everyone who's in the chat with us right now. So last week, at that point, the only thing we had really got was the first trailer, the official trailer, which came out like back at the end of October. So since then, in this last week, we got a TV spot, and then we got the official poster or like the cast poster, whatever, because they usually release two. And I just want to know what you think of this, Tim, because like I think this is like one of the ugliest posters of the franchise.
I saw your post was it yesterday and you ranked all the posters?
It was a few days ago, yeah.
Yeah, I really liked that because I never thought about
Oh,
that. But
thank you. Yeah.
yes, I think I don't think it's the worst poster, but me personally, I hate Sydney's haircut in this movie. So like, it's just like a big picture of her with that silly little haircut, which is actually, one report says that's a wig in this movie. Which I don't know if that's true or not, but
I mean, she usually wears wigs, I think,
Sydney?
for each role. Yeah. She definitely did in Scream 3.
So that's confirmed then. Sydney had a wig on for Scream 3.
I
Cause
know
she,
that
cause she was supposed to be filming another movie at the same time. I wrote it down. Uh,
yeah, so in
Drowning
the
Mona.
yeah, in the commentary they talked about because they had to do reshoots, and that's why like if you notice like at the very end of
Mm-hmm.
the movie, uh the characters like hairstyles are a little bit different. Like
Mm-hmm.
especially like it's noticeable with Dewey, and I think Patrick Dempsey's sideburns are shorter in some takes than they are. But with Nev, like she definitely had a wig, and I don't know if they like
Mm-hmm.
had it like it was just a wig the whole time, but she was blonde. And I think she would have been wearing a blonde wig for Drowning Mona. But yeah, it was just it's always been like a wig situation.
And I could see because it kind of looks like a hairstyle like from the second movie just grown out, and like that kind of makes sense because she lives up in the wilderness by herself wherever she lives, and she
Hmm.
isn't getting haircuts regularly. She's not thinking about how she looks like that. So I actually like that detail that it really just looks like a haircut that's grown out.
Yeah.
And yeah, but I've just never liked it though. Out of the first three movies, I it was always my least favorite look of
Yeah, no,
Sydney's.
that's fair. But yeah, I mean, just that, like the Nev's look in general, and I would save most of this criticism for when I finally see the movie because like we're only seeing snippets of trailers and stuff. But I
Hmm.
agree, like it's not, like I've already mentioned this. I don't think that like any of the characters' looks are particularly striking in Scream 7. But the thing about the poster that just like I don't think it's the worst. I think that it's a step up from the Scream 6 cast poster, which I think was just horrendous. But I hate how this one is like just sort of like it's got this like flame fire motif. There's like embers flying around everywhere, and you see like the Mocker house at the bottom, and it's like on flames. Like it's essentially like the Screams 5 poster, but
Hmm.
instead of like the bluish green, it's red and everything, and you're seeing this fire. And if I saw this poster, and if it didn't have like Scream 7 on it, which even the Scream 7 doesn't really stick out like the logo of the movie, I would just think this is a movie about like a ragtag team of firefighters. And
Right? It's
it
like
like
911
yeah, it's just
one of
like
those shows.
Sydney is like the fire chief of
Hmm.
wherever they are, and it's like all these people. But it's just like there's no intention to it. Like if you look at the one for five, if like not counting like the heads of like Gale, Dewey, and Sydney that are like a little bit larger and behind them, like everyone else on the Scream 5 poster is sort of like positioned. It's very similar to like what the traditional V shapes are. I mean, there's a lot. Well, yeah, for the 7 one, but they don't
Yeah.
do that. Like everyone is in like weird like depth of frames. Like you have Courtney in the middle and she's
Hmm.
in front of Sydney and her daughter, and she's just so much smaller, and it just like it doesn't like spatially nothing feels right. It does look
It
Photoshop to hell,
it looks
and
very photoshopped, and it looks like it's a movie about forest fires,
yes,
like California forest fires.
absolutely, it's Backdraft 2, and it's like even if like it's just too warm. Like if they had like some kind of colors cooling it down. But even if they were gonna go this route with like this color motif, I think they should have at least stuck to like more of a traditional, like the first three movies of just sort of like having like because those are very simple, they're very classy, like it's just
Yeah.
black background, everyone's dressed in black.
You don't need the whole
Um,
cast on the poster. You
you
don't need all
don't
like 27 people on the poster.
pick five
Yeah.
who you feel are like the most integral or even like the most interesting looking of the group and put them on there. And that's
Hmm.
that's fine. And they don't even have everyone because like the couple who is like featured prominently in the trailer that was released in October, like the I guess they're the ones that go to the Mocker house. They're not on the poster, so I thought that that was peculiar that they have like everybody else except those two.
Hmm.
But yeah, it's just way too busy. I don't like the color scheme. I don't like it doesn't feel like Scream. It's not capturing the essence of Scream. And like it's at least consistent with what they've been doing, but I hate what they've been doing.
Yeah.
And the I actually really liked like the initial teaser posters for 5 and 6. I really liked. Like the one for
Hmm.
6 is where the Ghostface mask is behind the subway car
Yeah, that was
door.
cool. I like that one a lot.
Yeah, I like that. The one for 7 was just like it looked like those typical cast posters where everyone's face is like right up front, like right close in front. Only it's like the ghost face mask and he's got the knife and it's just like the same color thing going on. Like I just it's not good. It doesn't feel like Scream to me.
Yeah. They kind of, and like I'm looking at the poster for 6, like yeah, they all kind of just feel like they're just there's just too much going on. It just feels like a big AI
Yeah.
cluster F. But
Hmm.
yeah.
And there's just like the negative space of like sort of like the white underneath and
And
I
you
think
pointed
they
out you like screenshot one of the characters like who even is that on the post. It's so true. Like why do
yeah,
we have everyone in the cast even the like
it's Ethan Embry, who I just did not even recognize. Like it's Ethan Embry. Like I remember more so from like Can't Hardly Wait. If you remember
mm,
that one with Jennifer Love Hewitt, it was like a teen rom-com
ah,
from the day, and he was
Ethan
in
Embry.
Empire Records and whatnot.
Oh, he was on Grace and Frankie,
Yeah, I've
that
heard people
show.
say that. Yeah,
Hmm.
yeah. I've never
Hmm.
seen it, but
Okay.
yeah, I don't know what character he's playing. Like the names haven't like there's like teaser names that have been released, but those are never usually consistent with what the characters end up being named. Like we know that the daughter's name is Tatum, uh, for sure. And again, I like where are the other daughters? Like I have so many questions. Like I want to see it just like to see what's going on, but my expectations are just so low, which might be a good thing because
Yeah.
then I might just enjoy the movie because I already like I'm going in thinking I'm gonna hate it and I might like
That's kind
it.
of how that's what happened with me with Bone Temple. I kind of went into it thinking it was going to be just a big schlocky mess, and I ended up like being so pleasantly surprised. So you never
Yeah.
know. But I feel like in this newest teaser trailer that they just released, I think they show even more footage of Sydney's husband in the plastic wrap. Um,
Yeah, there's some like
so
spoilery
that's like fully
stuff.
fully shown, I feel,
Yeah,
and I'm like,
yeah.
okay,
We
so
don't have to talk about that, but yeah, it's just like
yeah,
it seems like they're giving a lot away, and I don't
yeah.
like that. But
I'm just hoping that like because I guess there's a lot we still haven't seen in the trailer, certain characters and stuff. I'm hoping that maybe they're trying to save that for the movie or I don't know, future
yeah, I
promotional
mean,
material.
who even knows if there's going to be another trailer at this point? But I just want to hear what people are saying about the poster in the chat. So Adrian is saying the poster is too busy. Nerdy boy, I can't even recall when I first saw the first three Scream movies. They were kind of like just always there for me. The first one I remember being hyped for and seeing was Scream 4 when I was 14. The real tribal chief, aka Tyler. It's still kind of cool, but I'm just sick of the floating head posters. They're just so boring. Austin Hall, the Scream 7 poster is giving Star Wars episode blah 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 chaos.
Hmm.
Sarah Campbell. It's an over photoshopped, almost AI looking, fiery version of the Scream 5 poster. I wasn't offended, just bored. Amethyst Frost, Gale and Sydney's daughter should have swapped places in the poster. Absolutely.
Hmm.
Uh, Greg Pendergast, Grast. I really wish this S7 poster was a throwback to the old style of 1 to 3. The new poster looks like a throw up of cast images. Nerdy boy, it's okay, but yeah, I agree on the Gale and Tatum swap. Adrian, my opinion on the poster is the same as Zach's opinion on the weapon the killer dons in Sorority Row 2009. It's doing too much. What's the weapon? Oh, that thing that was like, it's almost like welded together. It's like different.
Like a tire iron thing, like
Yeah,
a
there's like knives and things on
like
it.
it's like
Yeah.
one thing is like a screw, and then the other side is like a that yeah.
Yeah. There was like a fan poster for Scream 7 that was like there were like knives, but they were like in the shape of a seven that was going through the mask that I thought was like pretty cool, like way better than anything we're seeing here. Dementia the Clown. I used to have Drowning Mona on VHS. It was ridiculous. Eric Champney, Scream 7 poster looks like it should be for Backdraft 2. Thank you. Amethyst Frost, Scream 1's main poster was just Drew Barrymore gasping. Yeah, like the initial release poster, but that was like simple. Like it just like it really it's iconic. It gets the point across and you remember it. And that
Hmm.
image was like the face of Scream for the longest time until they're like, no, it's gonna be Ghostface.
Hmm.
Um Greg Pendergrast. I personally love the Scream 4 poster of the mask turning into the knife. I love that. Yeah, the profile view.
Hmm. With the chin to the knife.
Yeah, Eric, the
Hmm.
the mask knife truly is fabulous. Craig asks, what do you think about them changing the knife up for Ghostface? Would anyone not like that idea? So like just taking away the weapon that we're used to seeing.
Well, yeah, I guess it is a very specific hunting knife that he always
Hmm.
has. Every killer is like, damn, I have to find that knife. But I don't know. That's kind of his thing.
Yeah, I think that like I wouldn't want to see a different knife, but I
Hmm.
think that Ghostface needs to have a lot more versatility when it comes to the kills. So I mean if they're going to use a different weapon, then absolutely like find something else. It doesn't always have to be just the knife. Austin Hall, Ethan Embry was in Vegas Vacation. I remember that one too.
Hmm. I haven't seen it.
Yeah. But there's something about this the marketing for Scream 7 that feels a little bare bones. Like when you think of 6 and even 5, they were actually like commissioning artwork from like fans to make like alternate just like fan posters that were official posters for the movies. Like I don't know if you remember, there were so many for Scream 6.
I remember just it being everywhere. I feel like
Yeah.
I couldn't not find it. It was everywhere. Scream 6.
Hmm.
And I know a lot of that was because it was New York City, but I don't know. This one just feels like they're just subduing it like a lot, and it worries me because I know they already
Yeah.
have plans for Scream 8, so it's like kind of like I'm hoping that it's all part of the plan. I'm just hoping that they're thinking like their marketing team said, "Hey, if we really subdue this one, we're gonna really knock it out of the park when people go see it." Like I don't
Like
know.
some sort of strategy.
Yeah,
The
some strategy.
the only
Keep it
thing
low
though
key.
is that if that's what they're doing, I feel like they're doing it the wrong way because they're still showing a lot. They've still shown so
Yeah,
much. Like
too
it looks
much.
like so much of what we've seen is like from the third act. We've seen the opening scene. So, you know, like I can understand a less is more approach, but like the less is more that they're doing is they're just not promoting it in a
Do
way
you think
that
that whole scene in the wall is from the third act? Because that'll be so upsetting if it is. Because in the
I
whole
don't
movie, we're just waiting for that
I
scene.
don't know. Like, I don't want to conjecture too much on where I think things land. And I know like some people that might be listening haven't watched the trailer or don't like know too much. So
Oh,
I don't want to get into like specifics
true.
about it.
Oh, my bad then.
Um, no, that's all good. I don't personally though, like I think that that's maybe more of like a middle of the movie or maybe like something that's like by like closer to like the end of Act One.
Yeah, that'd be
Because
cool.
there's always like a thing where Sydney's attacked, and that's how like
Hmm.
she knows. That's usually like signals the end of the first act, and
Hmm.
then they like move on to the next thing. So I don't know. I'm curious. Like I'm engaged in a way where it's just like I want to know, but I don't like I worry that they're not they might be shooting themselves in the foot by missing out on maybe more of like a casual audience. My sister actually, she called me uh a few days ago and she's like, "Is there any Scream movie coming out?" Like she had no idea, and I guess maybe she saw something and was like, "This is happening." So that just goes to show like um how like the reach of this movie is like it's not really getting that far if like we're just getting to a point now where people are like, "What? There's a new movie coming out."
Yeah,
She's
even
15
their
years
socials, their
older
social
than me though.
medias and
Yeah.
stuff. Like I feel like that I'm not seeing it like on even the actors. Like I don't know if the actors are posting about it. Um,
I don't know if I
so that's
follow like I follow Nev and Courtney.
and like somehow I was still seeing it in my feed like for Scream 6. Like things were
Yeah.
popping up in my so I don't know. I'm thinking that it must be like a collective like okay everybody, let's all get on the same page. Let's start fresh
Yeah.
and act like we don't have social media or something. I don't
I
know.
heard that like another theory might just be that like production companies like Paramount in this case are just kind of like seeing patterns with, like a lot of movies like for example, like some of the more like recent MCU movies like the Thunderbolts or things like that
Mm-hmm.
paid an arm and a leg to promote the movies, and like the movies like did well, but they didn't do well enough to get a return on like what it cost for the marketing.
Yeah.
So it was almost like, well, maybe we shouldn't market these as much because like maybe there's like they have a team of people investigating things and just seeing that, okay, if we actually spent less on marketing, we would still get these same people coming. Maybe like there'd be some drop off, but it's almost like makes more sense to not market it and like, hope for like word of mouth or,
That's what it
whatever
seems
is on
like.
social media.
That's to me what it seems like is
Yeah.
happening.
Hmm.
Like they're really doing a bare bones kind of thing, and they're really hoping to like get people to love it on their own rather than like putting it in our faces that we're gonna love it. Like scariest scream yet. Like I don't know anything
Hmm.
like that. So who
This
knows?
this time I'm
Everything's
different, or
different.
what did
Yeah.
he say? What was the line? It was just like, no, I'm something different. I'm something new. And it's just like, no, you're exactly this. If anything, you're repeating the thing that had already been done.
Literally.
So yeah, I've got no idea. But yeah, I think we can start talking about Scream 3 now,
Alrighty. Do you want to do any
which
like housekeeping, anything like that first, or?
absolutely. Thank you for keeping me on track because I'm just completely not. Here I am like talking before we started about like, yeah, we're gonna follow a structure here, and clearly we're not. But yeah, you're keeping me in line, so thank you. Yeah, so if you are new to the podcast or if you've been listening slash watching for a while and you have been enjoying yourselves and you want to keep this engine running or you just want to give back a little, you can head over to my Patreon at patreon.com/ZackCherry. And you can subscribe at any tier, but if you are subscribed at the Freddy Krueger tier, there's a lot of fun stuff going on. You can join us as we record these episodes live, which happens every Monday night, or at least 4 Mondays a month. And you can add your opinions and push back on things that we have to say. And it's just a really fun time. It's a nice little community that we've got going on here. And people really look forward to their Monday nights to hang out with us and discuss these things. You can also do vote, nominate and vote for a movie that you want us to cover for the last episode of the month. And as it happens, we do have a winner for this
Ooh.
month, which will be next week's episode. And I actually don't have that in front of me right now, so I'm gonna stall as I get that information for you. But this is a really cool way that you can decide what you want us to talk about if you're tired of the topics that we talk about. But I mean, why would you be tired of the things that we talk about? Come on, guys.
No, it's not
But it
possible.
looks like the winner is Misery. from 1990,
Oh,
Stephen King's movie.
woo!
Yeah, have you seen that one in
Misery.
a while?
Oh, of course. Yeah, actually, I watched it not too long ago.
Very good. Yeah. Well, that it looks like it's going to be Misery, but if you have an idea about a movie or a topic that you would like us to discuss, you can head over to Patreon and subscribe there and throw your hat in the ring. And it's also just a great way to keep this going. You know, like I feel like if it wasn't for Patreon, I don't know that I'd be able to do this podcast week in, week out. So it's, everyone over there is really kind of making this happen. So all the thanks goes to them for keeping this engine running. And I do want to thank or shout out and thank my top tier supporters. So to the Michael Myers here, thank you to Kyle Beard, Sam Levy, Brady, Ellie Hamouche, Shane Ellingham, Tim McKay, Horror Slut 95, Austin Hall, Billy's mother, Cara Day, Michael Boswell, Def Con, Michelle Hughes, and then Ghostface here, Eric Champney, Daniel Saturn, Stephanie Starbright, Baby Ghoul, Garrison Nichols, Craig Lynn, Josh Burrow, and Brian James. So thank you very much to all of y'all. And Tim, why don't you hit us with a premise?
So Scream 3. Scream 3 begins as Ghostface resurfaces during the production of Stab 3 in Hollywood. As the cast and crew are targeted one by one, Sidney Prescott is forced out of hiding to confront a killer whose motives are deeply tied to her past. The final chapter of the trilogy, which isn't really the final chapter, but the final chapter of this trilogy uncovers long buried secrets while blending Hollywood satire with the franchise's trademark suspense and twists. Well, that was an okay one. That wasn't the best one.
You
That
kind
was
of like
that was
went
Cheat
into
GPT.
it was Cheat GPT.
That was Chat GPT, yeah.
Oh, you kind of went into a Moira Rose Schitt's Creek
Oh
register there
yeah,
for a
she comes
second.
out sometimes. She comes out a
Yeah,
little bit, yeah.
yeah.
Um
Her and her girls.
my girls.
Yeah.
Um but yeah, so I like Scream 3. I've always just loved like anything that has to do with a movie within a movie. So I've always found that aspect fun.
What are other examples of movies within a movie that you can name off the top of your head?
Um
Sorry to test you. I just like you brought that up and I was just like, wait,
I'm
what
like, I
like what
love
else? Yeah.
movies that do this, and then I'm
Yeah.
like, huh. Well,
I
now that you
swear
mention it,
I'm not like calling you out or throwing you under the bus. No, I was just genuinely curious.
oh, what about Nightmare on Elm Street? Freddy's New Nightmare.
New Nightmare. Yeah, I guess that could count for sure.
Another Wes
Yeah.
Craven, but oh, Seed of Chucky.
Seed of Chucky.
I
Yeah,
always loved
very
that in
good.
Seed of
Yeah.
Chucky. I loved seeing the duel, the sets. I love like oh even in this is a silly one, but Roger Rabbit, like how that opens up and like Who Framed
Mm,
Roger Rabbit, and that's a
yeah.
set. I
Or
love
like
that like
the
yeah.
Pet Cemetery 2 is one. There's also the Tales from the Crypt movies from the 90s where it like starts off and they're filming it before they go into the story.
Mm.
Um
Did you ever see
yeah.
Bordello of Blood?
Yes.
That's the one I remember from Tales of the
Yeah.
Crypt.
I
I
do
think the only one
pref
I saw as a kid.
Yeah, I do prefer Demon Knight, but
Never saw it.
yeah, movies within a movies. Yeah, this but when I think of movies within a movie, like the first one that comes to mind is Scream 3, and it always will be. And I
Hmm.
can't see that getting dethroned in any
Yes.
way.
Oh, well, how about actually, did you ever see Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back?
Yes.
Because it's just wild. I actually forgot to look up when they filmed that because, you know that the Wes Craven cameo in that movie where they're filming a Scream movie in that with
Yeah.
Shannon Doherty, which the monkey is the killer, which is funny.
Yeah.
But then Jay and Silent Bob are also in Scream 3. So I'm wondering, like, did they shoot that back to back? Was that like planned? Like you get, I don't know. I just wonder what was happening behind the
Like
scenes with
just a
that whole thing.
crossover.
Yeah, why was there a crossover? So random and
I
yet.
think that Jay and Silent Bob came out in 2001, and this came
Mm.
out like obviously like this was filmed in 1999. So I don't think that it was like they were on the set at the same time and they're like, let's do this. I think it was just a thing that like Wes Craven worked so closely, like, did many movies with Miramax Dimension, so he would have always been there.
Hmm.
Um, but I forgot about that scene in Jay and Silent Bob
I
with
loved
Shannon
it.
Doherty. We should have had
Yeah.
Shannon Doherty in a Scream movie. I feel like in an alternate
Yeah.
universe, Shannon Doherty would be Sidney Prescott.
I maybe Sydney. I could see that. I guess you're right. But I could see her being somebody. I could see her being like
Gale.
a Gale. Yeah, a
Yeah.
Gale. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. Well, she definitely like I'm sure she had like the bangs. She probably had better bangs than what Gale has in this movie. But
Well,
yeah.
about Gale's bangs, to bring those up really quick because I don't know what I believe as far as what Courtney Cox says because Courtney Cox blames it on the hairstylist. She says
Mm.
that the hairstylist like that she told the hairstylist she wanted bangs, so the hairstylist cut the bangs way too short and there was only one pair of bangs, so she had to wear those like for the whole movie. But I'm thinking, really, like, is that how that would go? Like, if the hairstylist cut the bangs too short, wouldn't they just be like, okay, forget it, scratch the bangs? Like, I think in that time period, like 99, 2000, weren't those micro bangs kind of in? So I feel like weren't they like I feel like they were a little bit more intentional than Courtney Cox is letting on. That's all I'm saying.
I do remember hearing David Arquette, and this might have been more recently. He was just talking about the infamous wig and was saying that I guess what they were going for was like more of a Betty Page look. And they
Mm-hmm.
kept like cutting the bangs shorter, but it was just the thing where it's just like, okay, no, it's not the right look. Like we need to keep doing it. And then it just got to a point where that's what it was. And I have no idea.
Yeah.
You know what? It's there. It is what it is. And I think at this point, we've just kind of embraced it. Like I don't really hear people complain about it anymore. And like that's such a stupid thing to
I feel like
complain
during Scream
about.
5, I feel like during
Yeah.
Scream 5, like, because like the movies were coming back, I feel like that was like a big funny joking point that like
Yeah.
Courtney Cox was bringing up in all her different interviews and stuff.
Right.
Um,
Doesn't she even say
but
like in Scream 5, like when she's on the
yeah,
news and you hear like in the
somebody
background, like, oh, if I ever want to do bangs again, yeah, whatever it is.
she's like
Yeah.
somebody have an intervention. She got bangs again. She's like talking
Yeah,
about
the
herself.
thing is it's just like it's a very distinct look. And that's what I love about Gale in the first four movies is that like, even for better or worse, and it's
Hmm.
usually for better,
Yeah,
that maybe not so much this time, but like she always has a distinct look that is like specifically her own. Like you see that and you automatically just think Gale. And she for that, I think it's a successful look. I think that it got the point across. It did what it needed to do. She doesn't blend in with any other characters here. She
yeah,
she
that
stands
is
out.
true.
We know who she is. So yeah, for that I'm grateful. And I feel that like now in like the last three movies, it's like you could pluck Gale out of like either five, six, or seven based on the trailers that we've seen for seven and just put her in any one of those and it's like the exact same look. Like they haven't bothered to
Yeah,
differentiate that. And that was something that I really loved about that character is that every time she came back, she was always reinventing herself. And, even in the span of like 1996 to 2000 that the first three movies came out, like year after year she was doing that. And I don't care if she's like, reinventing yourself doesn't stop in your 60s. So like Gail
hmm
could very well still be doing that, year after year in the 2020s. So I just feel that it's, lazier of whatever they're doing right now. And, I I don't know if or when there will be a Scream 8 if people say it, but if it when she's in it, I would really like to see something more original and unique for her.
Do you think in this movie, because I think the only clip we've seen of her is when she comes out and she's just like, "Let's unmask this fucker." Like I think
Mm.
do you think that that's pretty much what her character will be in this movie? Just like
Yeah, I mean, it's just like she's very cliched now.
almost like Demon Hunter, like almost like Van Helsing
It's just not, I mean, that's
of
a
the screams.
compliment. Yeah, like
Of the screams. Like let's do
yeah,
it.
it's just like there's no nuance. There's like literally nothing to her character. It's just more of like fan service. Like I think of like that bit in Scream 2 when we talked about this last week, which is such a great defining moment. Like that is really like her shift in the franchise when she like right after Randy dies and there's the scene and Dewey's like, this isn't just another like Gale Weathers performance, and she's like, there's no cameras here. I just want to find this fucker. And
Mm-hmm.
like it's such an iconic moment, but it
Yeah.
has like it's built up. It's earned because of everything she went through. And now I feel like the way that they write her and the way that they like write, and it's not just with her, it's just like a lot of the things in the Scream franchise, it's like, oh, callback and fan service and nostalgia. So we'll just have her
Mm-hmm.
come in and say like a line like just let's find this fucker, and everyone's gonna
Mm-hmm.
like cream their
Cheer.
panties
Yeah.
because they're just like,
Woo!
oh, she said the thing, and it's like,
Yeah.
but no, she steps out of a fucking van and she walks over and says this, and it's like this doesn't mean anything. Like, give us more. Like, at least in Scream 4, we kind of see like what her life is
I
and like
love her in
why.
Scream 4. I
Yeah,
love
like
Scream 4 Gale.
yeah,
I think
she
she looks
is.
stunning in
Oh,
Scream
for
4
sure.
too.
But it makes sense with her look for that. But like
Hmm.
here, it's Gail's a bit softer, like just like, in terms of like her character and like even her wardrobe, like it's so much more colorful. Like this is
Yeah.
probably
Everyone's wardrobe in this movie in Scream 3 is a little flat. I don't like I don't know if it was just like the kind of like grunge era. It just like I
well,
don't
what do you mean
know.
by flat?
Like even Sydney's like the colors like the green and the light brown, like the hoodie, um Gale's costumes just don't really like aren't sharp enough for me. Like a lot of like butterfly clips
That
and
was
like
weird. I'll give you that.
yeah, butterfly
Yeah.
clips and like purples and lavenders and like soft colors. Um yeah, I don't know. I mean the poppy yellow in the first outfit you see her in, but I just feel like after that it kind of I don't know, everything just feels very
With her,
pedestrian. I
yeah,
don't
okay.
know.
So let's just go through this. So Sydney, I feel, is very consistent from like the last movie and like really like her like it's almost like these jackets are like her armor, and she
Yeah,
does have a lot of those like
her leather
olive green
jackets.
colors and yeah, the leather
It could be
jackets.
the hair.
And
It could be the hair throwing it off for me. I don't know.
I think it's the hair.
It could be.
And Dewey, like he has like the same kind of like, I don't know what like color you would call that, like a taupe
Yeah, like a
maybe, or like a
camel
tan or
khaki.
something. Yeah, like he he
Hmm.
he has a lot of those, which just feel like it's kind of like more emblematic of like the Woodsboro police colors of like the wardrobe that they
Hmm.
had for like their deputies. And with Gale, the way that I always thought about it, because like I don't love her outfits in this movie, but it's it reads to me like someone who's trying to be more of like trendy or like whatever like the current thing is. And like I like her and Jennifer like match each other a lot in many scenes. Like I was
Mm.
noticing that when Gale goes to like she's like they're at the coffee shop and then he gets paged to go to Jennifer's and they go
Hmm.
there. Gale's wearing this like lavender sort of thing, and
The
she comes in and
lavender.
and and and
Hmm.
and Jennifer's wearing a lavender, so it's just like almost this thing that they're like constantly matching each other unintentionally. That I kind of like. I think that I mean my favorite Gale wardrobe is always going to be Scream 2. I think that that was just very simplistic and very much like kind of told the story like we mentioned last week of just sort of like her turn as a character. And there was just like there was an elegance to it. Like I love just sort of like the diamondy like buttons at the beginning. It was just like she was like full on just embracing like the
Power.
the exactly. And then like
Hmm.
by the end it's like here she's just like bandaged up and whatnot, and like her white shirt's got like blood on it and all
Hmm.
that. So it's just like all the like pretensions had washed away, and now here she is back again. So I feel like it's almost like she's doing it in a way that's just like it doesn't feel authentic to her character, but like or just like her journey of where she's come this far. But like in terms of like her character, she is softer around the edges. Like there aren't really any moments in the movie where she's telling someone why they suck. And if she is,
Yeah.
like she's doing it in um like a much more subtle kind of way. Like she doesn't have the fangs that she did in Scream
Well,
2.
she had a show that failed, right? Like she had 60 Minutes too, but then that failed. So then she
Yeah.
like so maybe that was a little blow to her ego.
I don't think,
And
yeah. Well, 60 Minutes 2 was like an actual thing, I think got canceled. So I don't know if that was just them trying to be meta
Well, like,
with
because
the real world.
Parker Posey says it, right? She's like, sorry about 60 Minutes too, Gale, but I'm sure
Total
Total
entertainment.
Entertainment is a
Yeah.
great like fallback. Like, so I think she like maybe feels a little embarrassment for that. Maybe that's why she's a little toned down. I don't know.
I don't
Um,
I don't get the impression that Gale is doing poorly in this movie. Like it starts off and she's like at this kind of like I don't know what you would call it. It's just sort of like this panel where she's like talking to like the journalists of tomorrow.
I thought it was like a
Um
college. I thought she was just a college speaker, like a guest speaker at a college or something.
yeah,
Yeah,
something like that. So I think that like
she has a
clearly
lot of
like
free
she's
time.
Hmm, that's a good point. Well, I
She
know that
has the
in
time.
one of the script versions, like who knows which script online is real, but like the she did have a talk show, and she was interviewing Roman Bridger. It was like the introduction to like his character and her reintroduction into the movie. So she was like I guess like a Nancy O'Dell, since they feature Nancy O'Dell in all of these movies. Like she was like that
Hmm.
equivalent.
Yeah.
So she had her own show, and Roman was on there for whatever reason, I guess promoting Stab 5. But then later in the movie, when they're like going down into the basement of the archives before they meet Carrie Fisher,
Hmm.
um, she's saying to her, well, because Parker Posey is just like, I hate basements, and Gale says, you'd make a fascinating interview. So I think that probably was part of her job. Like she was doing that. She was interviewing people.
Mm.
I just don't, maybe it just wasn't very clear. And in terms of like what you're saying about their free time, I mean, like when there's like this is her job, it's like she's going to prioritize like anything if there's like a murder investigation for whatever else she's doing. But you're right in the sense that it's not very clear what it is that she's doing at this point, where I feel like in Scream 2 it was very clear.
Yeah, and like Scream 4, it's very clear that she's like just a wife at that point and she like wants to get back to work. But in Scream 3, I always feel like it was, yeah, pretty unclear like what
Yeah.
she's doing. Is she currently on a TV show? Is she like in between shows?
Yeah.
Or is she just like a, freelance kind of job?
Yeah.
Um,
Well, whatever
but
total entertainment is, it's just
but
like
they
we don't.
must but she must get money every single time one of these stab movies is made. So
Yeah, that
so
was
she
like,
must be making a lot of money, like to be honest. Especially if they're especially if her character's in each one, especially if Parker Posey's playing her
yeah.
and they're using her name.
So this is where like the stab continuity of it, like I feel like they're still doing it right with this one, but her being like kicked off the set, like or having to
Hmm.
sneak on the set, like doesn't always make sense to me because it's like you're right. It's like it's based on a book. Well, actually, now that I think of it, maybe it's not because okay, here's sorry, I'm like all over the place. Here's
No, this
the
is the lore. I
Gale
love it.
the Gale Weathers book chronology, if
Yes.
you will. So there was the first one that she wrote about Maureen Prescott's murder and Cotton Weary. So that one hadn't like been released yet at the when Scream was happening. Because that's the whole like, oh, the book will be out later this year. I'll send
Oh
you a copy.
yes.
Yeah. In
Hmm.
Scream 2, the book based on like the Woodsboro murders is out, and that's like a book that's featured prominently throughout all of that. Um, whatever happened in Scream 2, she wrote a book about that, and that had been turned into a movie that was Stab 2. And at this point in the timeline, the studio was like, okay, well, we're making a Stab 3. It's not based on any true story. And it's based on these characters, but it's going to be like a completely fictionalized thing, whereas like Sydney goes back to Woodsboro. So she hadn't written
Hmm.
a book for Stab 3. And this is like where I've had many arguments online as you do online, of just sort of like what is the true continuity of the Stab movies, because in Scream 4, what's her face, the Jenny and Marnie say at the
Hmm.
beginning, Sydney wasn't a character, like she hasn't been in the franchise since Stab 3, and because they tried to keep writing her and she threatened to sue, so they just started making shit up.
Yeah.
That means that she was not a character in there because it's just like how that works is like your personality rights, you like you don't own the rights to those unless like there's a situation where like say something happens to you in real life that's like, this awful thing, someone can go and make a movie about that. But if someone
Hmm.
like makes a movie about you specifically and just puts you into this like completely fabricated situation, you can sue them. Now there's like some gray area where they can like change events and stuff. Like there's just like, as they do. Like remember that Pam and Tommy
Yes,
miniseries that
I saw
came out?
that.
And
Hmm.
because it's back in the media again, because Pamela Anderson was sitting next to Seth Rogen at the awards, and she was like, "Oh God, I hate that guy because he did produce this show about me and did not ask for my permission or whatever."
Oh.
But she couldn't sue them because it was like this is based on like true events, and even though they like, twisted the story, for the creative liberties or whatever,
Hmm.
they could still do that about this whole thing about her sex tape and all that. So
Mm.
there's this whole thing because like in Scream 5, they changed the continuity to say that Sidney Prescott was a character in every movie. Except the new one that was like the Ryan Johnson one that had just come out. And like people were like, no, that's not you're going against what has already been established in Scream 3. There was even a deleted scene where Kirby said Sidney Prescott hasn't been in the franchise since Stab 3. So whatever Stab 3 eventually
Yeah.
became, because it was what the movie that we see them making obviously doesn't happen because all of
True.
the cast dies. So Gale wrote a book called, I think it was like Hollywood Horror or something like that, and that became what Stab 3 eventually was. But in terms of like Sydney, there's like this whole thing of just like Angelina is playing her in this version of Stab 3 that's like fictionalized, and like that's why like Tori Spelling didn't come back or whatever. So
Hmm.
technically they wouldn't have been allowed to make this movie about Sydney. But my theory is that the studio paid her a shit ton of money so they can have her personality rights to do this, and she
Hmm.
accepted it, and she took that money and she went into hiding, and that's why we see like she owns this like
She has
huge
a house
property
with a dog.
in the middle of nowhere. Yeah, like to
Yeah.
be able to pay for this like this huge lot of land in Topanga Canyon or wherever she is, like, I know that her dad is well off, but she's at this point is like she's like 20 years old now in the timeline, and she's established as like having this like owning this huge property. Like I
Hmm.
think that the studio paid her and like she signed off on whatever it was that they were gonna do.
I think so. And
Yeah.
it's wild because when you think about it, she is only 20 years old. So it's just kind of
Hmm.
funny that like her dad is like I don't know, like letting her be off on her own. I feel like my father if, like would never let
Hmm.
me. He'd be like all over it. He's like, "Oh my God, you were almost killed like a bunch of times."
Yeah.
Um,
Well,
but
and
yeah.
even the fact that he visits her and he's like, I don't like you being here. Like, if he had
Yeah,
that
you're
sort of
20.
like control over her finances and stuff like that, he could, do this.
Yeah.
But I think it was just,
He's an
like
adult.
everything that, like, and yeah, and she's not making like the kind of money from like working as a call center
No. To
person
support
to,
that lifestyle. Yeah, this huge
yeah.
house.
So, yeah, I think that it's a scenario, and this is what I love so much about like where. I guess sort of like what Mickey did to her at the end of Scream 2, of just sort of like gaslighting her into thinking like Derek might be the killer and just like really kind of like breaking through her foundation of trust and like who in her life she can trust. And
Hmm.
I always love that in Scream 3 when we see her phone and the only two contacts she has are her dad and Dewey. Because there is nobody
Hmm.
like at the end of Scream 3, all of her friends are dead. There is
Right.
nobody. I've heard, okay. I want to ask you something because like people say that Cotton had her number, like her and Cotton were friends or something, and that's what like the whole opening of like Ghostface going after Cotton is just sort of like give me Sydney's like where's Sydney Prescott? Like how would he know? So I've always felt that like there are holes in this movie, and the whole thing of like Roman trying to find Sydney is kind of one of them.
Do you think it was like we need to put Cotton in the opening scene? Why would Ghostface go after Cotton? Like, oh, he's looking for Sydney, like
Yeah.
kind of thing. Because like, yeah, wouldn't you think that he would attack Sydney's father before Cotton?
Hmm.
Um,
And probably could find, unless like Sydney paid to like have her dad hidden away too. But if she,
relocated.
but if he was, then why wasn't he staying there? And I don't see like Sydney's father. Like he's got his own career. He's going away on business. Like it's one of those things where there's not a lot of logic to the Sydney and hiding thing. Like I think that Roman could have easily found her rather than like creating this whole rigmarole situation in Hollywood to like draw her out. Because it's like you think about it and it's like this is something that like requires a lot of luck. Like you just need everything to line up exactly as it does and it did. So
Yeah.
at this point, if I have a problem with Scream 3, it's that. And I just think it's such an entertaining movie that I don't allow it to be such an issue. But it is a problem with the script. It's just like the whole thing. If Roman was just sort of like going after like the cast members and like the whole thing with Cotton was because he was like gonna be in the movie, it's like I'm just going to kill him because that's the order that he dies in the script, that would be one thing. But I
Hmm.
guess that like they needed some sort of like um something to propel the Sydney and hiding thing forward to like really sell that idea for him to say like where's Sydney Prescott? How do I find her? Um,
Yeah.
but like that whole subplot throughout the movie is just kind of really
Well, and
like
then he finds her. Like, then he gets her number somehow.
which we
Yeah.
never it's never really explained. There's
Yeah.
no causation to like people will say that like Jennifer borrowed Dewey's phone at the beginning when she's bumps into him there. He's like, "Here's my phone," and she's like, "Thanks, Dewey." And then she just sort of left it lying around all willy-nilly, and Roman picked it up, which is just like you're asking an audience to accept a lot to get to that conclusion, but sure.
I know. I was like, because I wrote my notes somewhere. I was like, killer calls Sydney. Just got her number somehow. But I forgot where I wrote that or why I wrote it.
Amethyst was
But yeah.
saying there was a throwaway line he says to Cotton, "You have connections, not much chance he would whip that up when Ghostface is about to kill Christine." Yeah.
Oh yeah, I wrote Christine gets out of the shower with a full face of makeup on. Naturally I noticed that. But
Yeah. She's fabulous. I love the wet feet.
yeah,
This is the tracking shot of like the wet
somehow
feet.
still soaked. Yeah.
Yeah,
Which like
walking down the
that's
hallway.
that's a huge pet peeve of mine. Like leaving wet, like if you get out of the shower and you leave like water on the floor, it's a huge pet peeve.
Oh yeah.
I'd be mad. I would scare her in like my stab games just for that, for leaving water all over the apartment.
How do you feel about the opening scene? Just sort of like stacked up with like every other opening scene of the franchise.
Um, I like it better than Scream 4. It just feels very mid. It just feels very blah. It just kind of feels like, and also you have to be in the suspension of disbelief with the voice changer. And like, how do you feel about the whole voice changer in this movie? Um,
Um, well, I'll speak to the opening scene first. I
yeah,
actually really like it. I think that it's the third best. I think that it's like goes one, two, and three, and then I don't really care. Like the other
I don't
ones
really
kind of
care about the
annoy me.
rest.
But yeah, they haven't I don't think that they've done the opening scene well since Scream 3. And I get what you mean. Like it does feel very pedestrian compared
Hmm.
to one and two. Like it's not this like it's really hard to top the first one. But even with like Scream 2 of just sort of like the Jada Pinkett in the movie theater, that was just so over the top. And here it's like it does feel like very much like more contained. It's just these two characters again and they're in this apartment. But I think that
And like they play stab games, like that was kind of weird. Like, why do they play stab games? Like she's like, is this another one of your stab games? And then like as
I
soon
don't think
as
but she doesn't play them. He does, and she's
but then
annoyed
like
by them.
but then once the killer jumps out with the knife, she immediately screams and runs away. Like the whole thing to me just felt like I don't know. I wish there was more of a chase scene naturally. Um,
Yeah.
but it was okay though. I didn't dislike it. Yeah.
Yeah.
It just felt very
Um
okay.
No, I like the sort of like the gaslighting that Roman is doing with the voice changer in this scene, but I just think that it's a really well crafted and well shot sequence or
Hmm.
scene rather that I feel is just lacking in like the later movies. So it's just like even though it is more bare bones compared to the first two movies of an opening scene, I still think that and like technically it's doing a really good job. And
Hmm.
the voice changer was something that like I think if you'd asked me maybe 5 years ago or more, I probably would have been like, oh, fuck the voice changer.
Hmm.
But I mean, at this point, I kind of love it. The problem with it, though, or just like why I feel like people have a problem with it, is because Scream 3 is very much set in this universe. You know, like
Hmm.
that just comes with like the meta territory of it all. And the thing is, it's like there is no technology. I mean, there might be now, but like, you know, back in 2000 or 1999, there was no technology that could do this. And I think you could get away with that in a movie where you are creating the universe brand new and
Hmm.
it's just specific to this movie. But because this is very real world, it kind of, you know, there's a suspension of disbelief. And I think that that kind of, you know, pushed, you know, a few people away to one side of not believing it. There is a scene that got cut that if you ever find the assembly cut of the film, you can see where this scene is. I didn't like where it was placed in the assembly cut,
Hmm.
but it's very Giallo-esque. And what we see is Ghostface at a computer. It's just sort of the gloves. We don't see the mask yet, but it's sort of the gloves, and we see the process of him like putting these discs in, these like little like mini discs and programming Sydney's voice. And you just
Hmm.
hear like Sydney's voice on the thing, like modulating it, and then it comes out. And I think the scene would have worked really well if they had just sort of stopped it there.
Hmm.
But then he takes it out and then he's sitting there and he's just like he has the mask on and he holds the voice changer to the mask and starts speaking and it comes out as Sydney and I feel like that ruined the effect. But if they had
Okay.
just shown that happening and then just sort of like let that be the end of the scene, I think it would have been really creepy and it probably
Yeah.
would have sold the idea of the voice changer to, you know, people that might not have been on board with it. And like where it occurred, it was like when they go to the stab lot or whatever, like when Sydney comes with them and like before she's like, I'm gonna go to the bathroom and
Hmm.
and she's like, don't worry, I'll be right back. Or, you know, like she made some joke about the whole this is like after they saw the Randy thing. So it just felt weird that it was placed there because it's just like,
Oh, okay.
Is Roman there on the stab lot doing this at the same time?
Actively doing it right then and there. Yeah, that wouldn't make any
Yeah.
sense. Well,
Yeah.
was this, speaking of the voice changer, was this the first movie that we saw Ghostface speaking in person with the ghost effect or with the voice changer effect, but without seeing him holding anything? Like he wasn't holding, like at the end of this movie, we see him
Mm.
talking to Sydney and he has the Ghostface voice on, but he's not holding the voice changer up to it. So is this the first movie that we see Ghostface talking where he's not on the
So
phone?
no, we because in Scream 2, when Mickey comes out, he's
But isn't he
like
holding
he's
the voice
speaking.
changer?
He is, but I think Roman is holding the voice changer in this one as well.
Not when he's like first talking to Sydney, not when he's like before he reveals himself. Then he when he comes out and
Yeah.
he shows her the voice changer, like that's how he did the voices. Like that's because that's what I was watching today. I was like, how is he talking to her right now with the is the voice changer in his mask? Is this the first time that we've seen Ghostface speaking without the voice changer in front of his mouth?
Yeah.
So it might
Well,
have
if
been.
you no, because I'm just looking, I've got the movies on my computer, so I'm just looking. In Scream 2, Mickey is not holding
He's
the voice
not.
changer, but he
Oh.
has it in, I think it's like in the mask, because like, you know, has like the long chin.
Hmm.
So he pulls it off. Like we don't see it. He's like got it in his hand. It's strange. But I just I like you can just buy it that way. Like he's got it in the mask when he's doing it. Or maybe that's just what Wes Craven was hoping that people would think
Think. Yeah.
as they were. watching it or whatever.
Okay.
In
Yeah, I
Scream
forgot that you said
3,
that with Mickey. Yeah, you're right.
yeah, in Scream 3, uh he yeah, he doesn't. And that's like a bigger like the voice changer and like this one's like a big round thing. It's not as small as
Hmm.
the other one.
Yeah.
So I think that it's just sort of like the logic that it's under the mask or it's in the robe up here or
Hmm.
whatever. But I will say that I think that they do it right in terms of like the way that it sounds because there's a different way that like the sound will register when it's coming through the phone versus when it is in person.
Hmm.
And I think we even hear it in like Scream 1 because like when Stu's like, guess we won't be needing this anymore or whatever, like when he's got Neil there and then he
Hmm.
puts the voice changer in his thing, but he like talks through it and it's like Stu's voice and Roger Jackson's voice on top of it.
Yes.
But it was in Scream 6 and this like really bothered me in the opening scene when he's like, who gives a fuck about the movies or whatever he says. And it's like that sounds
Hmm.
exactly like it does coming through the phone. Like they didn't bother to like create that distinction.
No, you're right. Yeah, it sounded
Yeah.
exactly the same.
hmm
Um, yeah.
What about Ghostface? What about when Ghostface says with pleasure at the end of his call to City? Very good. Yeah. Thank you, Amethyst. That's another instance
True.
of Ghostface speaking in person with pleasure. Because it's, I mean, my theory was always that it's a different killer. It's like Mrs. Loomis on the phone, and then that's Mickey standing at the door.
Yes.
Yeah. hmm
Um,
But yeah, I mean, it's
actually, no, but speaking of that, actually, I did have a question about that because in when Sydney goes onto the movie set, which that was like one of my favorite parts growing up, watching this movie is because like I said, I love a movie within a movie. I loved seeing the set, like a Hollywood set, and I also
Mhm.
thought it was just cool all the callbacks to the original movie. Like you even see the garage door set, and which also
Mhm.
that must have been so painful for Dewey to see when Dewey was on set, like in the soundstage. He must have seen that
Yeah,
garage set and been like, Tatum. Um, but in that scene when Sydney's up in the bedroom and I'm guessing Ghostface is do you think that's Ghostface laying on the floor with the blanket over his head pretending to be Maureen and then like speaking in Maureen's voice like Sid, I'm your mother, Sid. Like was that Ghostface laying there like yelling out of the mask? Like or you think that was playing somewhere else to fuck with her head? That's a very
it's
confusing scene to me.
yeah. I
Like, where was the
mean,
sound coming from, and where was Ghostface?
I wonder if there was like a it's almost like there's like speakers in the studio and they were just
Yeah,
coming over the
and because
loudspeakers.
that's where I would think that the voice would have to come from. If not, like
Yeah.
Sydney could have just completely knocked the crap out of
Yeah.
Roman with the blanket on.
We also like have to remember that we're hearing the voices of Billy and Stu as that's happened because it's just like your mother was no Sharon Stone and even like Billy's
I
voice when
always
she
thought
goes
that was
into
in her
the
head. I always thought that
like
was just her memory.
yeah like an internal
Yeah,
monologue thing or just like yeah hearing it
because that's when she reads
um
her journal or somewhere. She sits on the bed and she's like, and she hears the
yeah she
memories.
hears
Yeah.
the PG would you settle for a PG-13 relationship so I
Hmm.
think that that sort of like bleeds over into like why she's hearing it there but it's still it is confusing because it's all happening at the same time
Yeah, and I'm like,
and
is Ghostface
she's
saying these lines or is
yeah
this? Yeah.
so Ghostface has like might have Billy and Stu's voices as well
I don't know,
yeah
but I also just find that it's like very like because I feel like going into making this movie, they had already canceled the Angelina side plot
yeah
of her being a killer, so they knew it was just gonna be Roman. So they must have filmed this scene knowing that there's just one killer, and I feel like that scene makes it very hard for there to just to be one killer.
Yeah,
Um,
this is, I mean, I feel like there's just so much evidence that suggests that there are two there. I mean, it is a set and it's not like a real house, so there's like access points to go to like, like, yeah, like I'm gonna quickly climb up here and be upstairs in this room and then like be able to hide under this
yeah,
sack or
yeah,
the
Amethyst said it
corner sheet.
too. I agree, Amethyst.
Yeah.
Yeah, it makes sense if there was two killers just for that scene alone. I feel like it would have been pulled off better with two killers,
Yeah, I
or would
think
have needed
that
two killers.
I don't know at what point, like it's Wes mentions this in the commentary where he's just like, yeah, so we should just let you know that there was originally supposed to be two killers. He wasn't
Hmm.
very clear on like the timeline of when it was decided that
Hmm.
like producers just wanted one. Um,
Hmm.
but it seemed like just with the very nature of the movie, because they were like writing script pages as they were filming.
Yeah.
So this was like a movie that was very much made on the fly. So I think that there
Which
was,
they joked about in the dialogue, which I really like. Like
yeah,
they even joke about that. I think that they really hit Harvey Weinstein in this. Like they Milton, I feel like is a definite correlation to Harvey Weinstein in a way.
which is
Um
which is just bizarre because it's like he signed off on this. Like
yeah.
he
And the character says like a lot of there's a lot of criminals in Hollywood and like that's what you have to do to get ahead in Hollywood. I'm like
mhm.
that's literally what his whole MO was. Like it's kind of
Yeah.
crazy.
Yeah, it's interesting because it's almost like it's like an admission of guilt, but
Hmm.
like wrapped in a way that's just sort of like, you can't get me because like,
It's
we're
in a
and
movie.
basically it's like the most he can like admit to it and not face any consequences for it. But like it is strange. I think that it would have been one of those things that if he had pushed back on it, it might have like
Mm,
drawn more attention
true. They'd be like,
to the thing.
why?
Yeah, like why do you have such a problem with this? But I guarantee it probably made him uncomfortable.
Yeah.
But the Angelina as the killer of it all, I think that there must have been varying points in the movie where it was understood that there was going to be two killers, and it just by the very nature, because that's the thing. Like when you get to the editing process, you can like transform the movie
Hmm.
significantly.
Yeah.
That you can hide all of the things that, make it seem like there are two killers. And I think that they did a really good job of, editing it in that way. So it was as clear as possible that it could just be Roman. There's obviously some discrepancies, but I think for the most part it works. Um, but I know that people have their theories. There's like the original like DVD box set that was released. There's a fun little booklet in there that has like all the characters who have died throughout the trilogy, and for whatever
Hmm.
reason they forgot to put Angelina
Angelina.
in
Hmm.
there. And I don't know if that's because like she was supposed to be one of the killers and they had produced this before, or they might have just forgotten. But that's like a thing that has like clued people into thinking that like no, she was another killer. So there's this idea that she, when he kills her or whatever, that he's not actually killing her, like he's just pretending to, so she can get away. But if I'm gonna believe a scenario where Angelina is the second killer, I would sooner believe a scenario where he betrayed her before she could reveal herself,
Mm.
because like
Yeah.
she was dead. He killed her for sure.
Yeah. She dies from one stab wound, and
As
Chad
does
doesn't die
everyone.
from
Yeah.
563.
Yeah.
Um, but what would her motive be, you think?
So there was
Why would
like
she want to
in
sabotage her first chance of being a movie star?
I'm trying to remember in the script because I've read it, like that you can see the script where she is one of the killers. All I know is that I think she might have been like she went to Woodsboro High with Sydney. So it was kind of
Mm.
like a Judy situation before Scream 4
Mm.
existed, and I think that they carried over that storyline to be like a red herring for Judy in Scream 4. But
Okay.
yeah, and Amethyst is saying her name was Angie Crick in the script. She was Sydney's classmate. Thank you.
Oh.
Amethyst Frost, like just just gotta shout him out on here because it's like he is a well of information and trivia.
I love
Craig as
that.
well. Like Craig has a lot of trivia as well. So like as do like a lot of the the Patreon supporters who are in this chat. But Amethyst is like he has the whole spreadsheet where he keeps track of like the cherry picker polls. That's actually on the links on the YouTube page if you want to check it out. But I am just like I'm constantly surprised by all of the information that Amethyst
The
knows.
well of
Like
knowledge.
it's a lot, so thank you.
Um,
Um, but I as a motive, I guess it was the maybe the tiger lily, not that specifically, but just sort of like the jealousy. Because I think that
a
Romans,
Jill before Jill, kind of like wanting to be Sydney.
yeah, I don't think that Jill is jealous of Sydney though. I think that she's just very opportunistic of just seeing like if you have that, I can have that too. It's my turn. Whereas I feel that the only killer who's really motivated by jealousy is Roman, because like it's really
Mm,
comes down to the fact that like we're both equal in the same that we're Maureen Prescott's children,
mhm.
only because of like circumstances, like I'm trash to her and you're this golden child. So that makes sense to me. Like I don't think that like Billy doesn't have jealousy. I think that like why would he what is he jealous of Sydney for? Like that's like I hear people say like, "Oh, well this is this killer's motive because they were jealous." And it's just like that is not
Well,
jealousy.
I don't think his was jealousy at all. I don't think that he should have taken it out on Sydney,
Yeah.
because like she literally had nothing to do with his mom leaving him, um, or anything really.
Hmm.
But yes, I don't think that's jealousy. No, I just, but I partly do feel that Jill is kind of jealous. I do see Jill as kind of like wanting fame and spotlight, and her whole life she heard about Sydney, and she was kind of wanting that herself, and like
Yeah.
kind of mad that it wasn't her, was mad that it wasn't her, and
But like, why would it
yeah.
be Jill? That like Jill hasn't done anything at that point to earn it. So I just like I can't see that it being a thing where it's just like
But how
no
many
one
people nowadays want fame for no reason? Like how many people now like just want to be famous just to be famous? And I feel like that's kind of what she
fair.
is. Like
Fair,
she
but I
just
just
wants to be famous. She even says that she's like, you don't have to do anything anymore. Like she doesn't have any reason to be famous. She just wants to be
yeah.
famous.
No, that's totally fair, but I think that like where Sydney is concerned, it's just like she's just using Sydney as kind of a blueprint for how she's going to achieve this. I
Mhm.
never see her as like she's almost like looks at Sydney with like admiration of just sort of like she's kind of like I wouldn't say like worships her, but she
Mhm.
worships like what she has and what she's becomes, which I don't feel is rooted in jealousy. It's more just like rooted in opportunity. And with Billy, I think that like if anything, if he had like any issue with Sydney, I think that it probably like was resentment that grew over time. Because obviously he had a beef with her mother because of like
Mhm.
the affair, but it was almost like in killing her mother, it created a situation like in Sydney's life where she sort of like pulled away. So she wasn't really giving him the attention that he needed. And that was sort of the thing that like, it might not have been the motivating factor for him to be like, I'm gonna kill you, but it certainly made it easier for him because it's just like,
Yeah.
she's not gonna put out, so I'm gonna,
Yeah.
yeah.
I was gonna say, do you think the lack of sex?
Look, I've got a degree in psychology. No,
So that's
I don't, but I feel like I have a degree in Ghostfaceology, and
yeah.
yeah, thank you.
Um, I remember growing up, I always really liked Candy's death scene because yeah, because she kind of reminded me of a Cece Cooper in a way. Like
Candy Cane or Candy Apple? You mean like Jenny
yeah,
McCarthy?
yeah,
Sarah Darling.
Sarah Darling.
Yeah, Candy's her
I play
stab name.
Candy. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I just call her Candy. But she like yeah, like I think you said that that was kind of like a joke on Sarah Michelle Gellar in a way. Um but
There,
I don't know if that's true, but I also know that it's very like her own character only has two scenes. Like Jenny McCarthy only had two scenes and died second. So it was also
yeah,
very meta on herself.
it's very meta. I know that there was rumors. I don't think that they're true. I think it's like complete bullshit that Wes and Sarah Michelle Gellar did not get along,
Mm.
which I don't think that that's yeah, like
They're both such professionals. I feel like they would get along.
I mean the thing is like on a set, you might not like someone, but you can
Hmm.
still like them professionally.
Yeah.
But or you can like someone but not like them professionally. Maybe think that their work ethic is not great. And I can't see any scenario where someone would think that Sarah Michelle Gellar's work ethic was not
No, she seems like a
like at the
workhorse.
yeah, but I
Yeah.
mean this is also like earlier in her like this is the beginning of Buffy before she really
Hmm.
like kind of got to that point, and she was dating Jerry O'Connell at the time that they were filming Scream 2, and I think that there was rumors that like she was causing him to be late to set or something, which again it's just rumor. I don't know if it's true or
Yeah.
not, but the way that like Sarah has like spoken about Wes in interviews, and the way that Wes Craven like spoke about Sarah in like whether it's like the commentary or the interviews, there's no hint of that at all,
Hmm.
that there's like any sort of like resentment or bad feelings or something. So I can't see it happening. So I think that the idea of like Sarah Darling being named after Sarah Michelle Gellar is
Unlock.
just sort of like,
Yeah.
that's just, they were doing a thing. Like the Angelina Tyler is supposed to be like a mix of Angelina Jolie and Liv Tyler. What Tom Prince is like, it's supposed to be like Tom Cruise and Freddie Prinze Jr. So it's like, look,
Mm.
Freddie Prinze Jr. was getting hit with strays here too. Like it was just like, it was everyone. They were just like making the characters named after like real people, just using like a first and last name of different celebrities. So I don't think that
Oh, I
there's
love
anything,
that.
yeah, I don't think there's anything specific to Sarah Michelle Gellar. So I think that it's all just
Yeah.
bullshit.
Yeah, I know. But I do think it's funny that like Ghostface is just hiding in that rack of Ghostface costumes for her when she like
Hmm.
runs in there and hides. Like he had to have already been there.
Just
So I just think that that's
waiting.
funny that she just happened to run into the exact same spot. So that whole
Yeah.
death scene to me feels like, which it might not be, but that whole death scene to me feels very like on the day of. Like let's see what we can get kind of thing. Like let's film this as we go kind of thing.
Yeah, I mean, it's possible. Like there's no way of knowing. Like unless you talk to someone like Marianne Maddalena at this point, if she like remembers like every specific production detail 26 years later. But I always liked the way she sort of like is like adjusting her tit in the shirt, and just sort of like she's like, "Hello, vertigo."
Yeah,
With like
which
the whole
do you think that was
the
supposed to
shower
be was
thing.
that supposed to be Psycho? But like she says
Oh
Vertigo.
yeah, no, it's absolutely so, because it's just like the shower
Yeah.
thing has been done.
Yeah, Vertigo.
Vertigo,
Oh,
vertigo, yeah.
I think she's so smart.
Hmm.
Yeah, and she was apparently only 27 when she filmed that movie. But she plays
Scream
a
3.
35-year-old. Yeah. But she's
Okay,
like she wasn't really
interesting.
35 when she
Oh
played that
wow.
role.
I did not know that. Yeah, she
Um,
definitely like there's the characters in this movie, um, they're not as they don't feel like real people all the time.
yeah.
They're definitely not as sympathetic either, like especially like the cast of Stab 3. I think that Jennifer, well, I wouldn't say that she's sympathetic. I absolutely love her, but I think that like there's a very clear understanding of her motivations throughout the movie. So I feel that she's the one that sort of rises to the top naturally. I mean, she does because it's Parker Posey and that performance is
Mm-hmm.
outstanding. But
Yes.
it's like her logic makes sense because it's like I'm gonna follow you around because it's like I'm you and you're me, and if someone wants to kill you, they're gonna kill me, they're gonna kill you. That I like it that's cool. It makes sense. But then like Tyson at the
Hmm.
end, like after like the whole movie just talking about how like the brothers don't last long in this. Actually, that's Joel in Scream 2, pardon me. But there's like a similar through line of
Yeah.
just sort of like what it means to be like the black actor in these things. And yet there's so many opportunities where it's like he can just leave town. Like the production has been shut down. There is no more
Yeah.
movie, but he's still like showing up at Roman's
Milton's.
birthday party at the mansion and all this
And
stuff.
also,
So,
why did no one, how come there was no one else that showed up for that birthday party? Like you're
well,
trying to
because they
tell me
were all
like,
dead.
well, no, but I mean, like, there must have been other people in Hollywood. This is a big famous director. Like,
Yeah.
this is a big famous producer's house. Like, they even had a professional sign made that said "Happy Birthday, Roman." So I'm like, they had a
Yeah.
professional sign made. Like, where is like,
Mm.
you're telling me that no one else walked up to this house and was like, "Hey, there's a party here tonight."
Well, maybe
Like,
it has something to do with him being called a pariah by Variety.
I don't know.
That's
I was thinking
that.
about the whole time I was watching it today. I was like, you're trying to tell me that no one came to this party. No
Yeah.
one came. Like,
Well, I mean, he was in charge of the invite list, I would imagine. But I will say that like it might have been the pariah thing that
yeah,
made sure that
maybe.
nobody went there. But again, that's sort of like lucky coincidence. Like, how did you,
Know that no one
plan
would
that?
come.
Know that Variety was going to call you a pariah and nobody was going to come to
Yeah.
your birthday.
And like And you're really lucky that they were really bad at checking your pulse, like when he was playing dead in the coffin. And like Gale, doesn't Gale like check his pulse really quick? Um, I'm like, well, he's really, because imagine if they're
Yeah.
like, Roman, wait, we know you're alive. And he's like, I'm just kidding, just playing
So
around.
yeah, I listen to the Scream 3 commentary. Like the commentaries for 1 to 3 I listen to a lot. Like I have them on
I love that.
my iPhone, so like if I go to the gym I might be like I'm gonna listen to this. And I was listening to the one for 3 recently, and this is actually brought up specifically. And
Mm.
it kind of annoys me because I just like I want to like be like Wes, you didn't have to do this. But there was a whole thing of dialogue that was cut out where I guess because like Sydney had like was faking being dead or whatever, and that's why he like came over and shot her again or something. It's just like it's like it's real easy to fake your death. That's how I did it for Gale. You just like pinch this like vein or whatever under your armpit, and it like stops your pulse beat. Or so there's like this whole like
Oh.
really awkward dialogue that is just like
Yeah.
this is just getting really hard to explain. I don't think we need to explain it. And I'm thinking like you also didn't have to have Gale check his pulse. She could have just naturally seen a dead body, been
Hmm.
like, "Oh my God," and then that's it. Like
Yeah.
I think that would almost be better. Like for her to check the pulse because they don't there's never been a point in like from Screams 1 to 3 where someone saw a body, stopped, and then was just like, let's check his pulse real
Let me check the
quick
pulse really quick.
to make sure he's dead. So I just, yeah, that just felt really clumsy. I think that it would have been better just to leave him as an off-screen, like a potentially off-screen kill, and like had the characters freak out about it and run back upstairs.
Yeah. 'Cause then you do kind of
Mm.
forget about him a little bit.
You do, I mean, that, and actually, that's a good point. Is like that Amethyst is bringing up is my favorite scene with Roman is him unmasking and Sid just staring at him blankly because she has no idea who he is.
Yeah, literally. It was like there
Yeah.
was no reveal. It was like he takes off the mask and she's like,
Who are
like,
you? Who are you again?
"Shh."
Yeah.
Yeah. He's like,
Yeah.
oh, I'm a director, by the way. And also, I will say he's very successful for someone who's just turning 30, and he has like these huge, like major studio films being made.
Mhm.
So he's very successful
The
for,
the Roman of it all, like, yeah, it's like if his whole thing is like he wanted to be the star or whatever his bullshit was, just like Sydney the star or whatever. You know, like he was doing pretty well. I think that it's like you look at your life and think like I've got like a Hollywood movie that I'm
yeah.
making. Like all this is happening. Maybe I should just sort of like get over this grudge I've got
Yeah.
and
And like,
just
look
like
at
go on
her
with
life. Everyone's
yeah.
trying to kill her. I mean,
Yeah.
maybe I should just relax.
But I mean there's also another aspect to the movies that's not really
Excuse me.
ever bless you. That's not ever really touched upon is like Milton and Milton's relationship to Roman because it there's almost
Mhm.
like this undercurrent of him being the father. Like Milton is the one who impregnated uh Maureen all those
Mm.
years back, and it's like somehow maybe Roman like discovered that and he came and like blackmailed Milton, and that's how like Milton was able to like just give him all these things to kind of keep him quiet, and that's sort of like a through line that we see when he pulls him out of the closet and he's like, I'll give you anything you want, like, yada yada
Son.
yada. But that also just sort of, that falls back onto like the territory of like the I know what you did last summer 2025 killers, where, even if Milton is not a killer, they're in a room having a private conversation and nothing is like being mentioned of like the fact that just like he's saying like there will be other movies whatever like
Yeah.
if this was a scenario where he was blackmailing Milton would just be like okay well we'll figure it out we'll like do this or we'll this will be the next move so
Mhm.
that's there's all these little pockets of things within this movie that I feel are not explored and they're just sort of left to be interpreted by the audience. And I think that that's the same case with Scream 1 and 2, but I think that those movies are a lot smoother with with sort of like the backstory and setting them up that you can put those pieces together. Whereas here, there are so many holes, there are so many question marks, and I mean, just to get back to like the unmasking and sort of Sydney's um, surprise or just like confusion of it all. I think that one thing that was really missing was some sort of interaction between Roman and Sydney at some point in the movie, or at least if she like
Mm,
was familiar with him or knew who he was, even if it was just in passing. Even like we talking about like what the original entrance for um, Gale was going to be if she was going to be interviewing Roman on her talk show. At least that would have been an opportunity because, like, I think that Gale is as much a main character as Sydney is. Like, they both kind of have their own storylines.
mm.
If Roman had at least appeared there and had interaction with Gale, I would have felt like there was more opportunity to set him up as the killer or just sort of being like a satisfying killer reveal by the end of just sort of like, okay, I know that character. We've dealt with him. Like he's had relations with our main characters, but we don't even have that. I think the only time Gale really sees him, like they don't even talk, it's when she's coming into the office and he's leaving.
Yeah, no, you're absolutely right. And because it's just funny because by that point too, Sydney is just kind of like over it all. Like she's just like been through it 3 times, and she's like, you
Hmm.
can feel that energy coming off of her of like, we've done this already. I've heard this before. Blah blah blah. And it's funny because she doesn't even know who this guy is. So like, she really has
Yeah.
no emotional tie to him whatsoever. So she really is like, I really don't have time for this. Like either shoot
Yeah.
me in the face or like let's get on with it. Because
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, having said that, like I do like Roman. Like Roman has grown on me over the years, and I do love the backstory. I don't mind the retconning. I think that that is actually one of the things that they did do very smoothly in terms of,
Mm.
him, I guess
Being the mastermind.
convincing Billy and to
Yeah.
have this plan and everything. And yeah, like being the one that like killed her essentially or just like organized it from the start. And I think that there's a like a Greek tragedy to this character as well of just sort of like who he what he resorted to, what he could have been, what their relationship as brother and sister could have been. Because I feel that even though they don't share any scenes prior to this, they're doing a lot of work to kind of like make up for lost time. That like by the point where she stabs him with the ice pick and they're holding hands and she's waiting for him to like supposedly bleed out. Like I feel that. It's just like that's actually like a very powerful moment because it's like
Mm.
in that moment she's almost like like it's not forgiveness, but it's just sort of like a reprieve of some sorts of just being like,
Understanding.
this is yeah, I mean not even like understanding, but just like in this moment, it's just like you're still my brother, and I'm gonna
I guess.
mourn what this like could have been, but I don't know. There was just like it actually like bonded the two of them,
Yeah.
or for whatever that was, forever like short time.
And the way that it was like shot, like the way it was lit and the music, I think all of it looked really beautiful too.
Hmm.
Um, and like
Yeah,
a blue light on her and like the extreme close-ups. I think it really, you could feel that impact for sure.
yeah.
Um, and
This Well, I was gonna say the score is like phenomenal. This might be like one of the best scores of the
well,
franchise.
yeah, they
Yeah.
had the biggest budget for the score. I was gonna say like I don't know if it was the beginning of the film. I was like hearing a lot of like what sounded like Scream 2 score to me, or maybe like
Hmm.
some of the other previous scores. So I was like, wait, because I know that they had a huge orchestra, so like maybe they were just sampling some of it.
Yeah.
But yeah, then they also had Creed in this movie and
Two
some other.
songs. Yeah.
Hmm. Which I loved. But I also, yeah, so the most gruesome death in the whole movie, I think, is Milton's. I think his is the only one that you really
Yeah.
see anything. I remember like, that one always freaking me out the most when I would watch this movie. Like that was the
I
biggest like jump scare for me.
yeah. I think that like why it's so effective and like visceral is because he's in a very vulnerable position. Like he's got his hands tied behind his
Yeah.
back. So it's like there's not really like any like his like neck is exposed. There's nothing that he can really do. He doesn't have a fighting chance in this. It's more of just sort of like Sydney versus Roman. Like, is this something that she can like convince him not to do? And he's just sort of there powerless. And actually, like Scott Foley really injured Lance Henriksen badly in the shooting of the film because I guess he was so into the character that
Oh.
when he like throws him, he didn't have to throw him. It was almost like there was like because they had a stunt double for like when he was going to hit the ground. So when you
Mhm.
see him hitting the ground, that's actually him.
Oh my God.
Um, and yeah, like I think it's just like he wasn't too happy or the way that they explained it in the commentary.
Well, then
But there
didn't
was
the
a
same
lot
thing
of
happen to him? Like, didn't
yeah,
like the
he
actor who, yeah, Sydney gets like hurts him, so maybe it was a little not payback, but it was like a little karma.
karma.
Yeah. For the universe.
Well, I don't know. I imagine like Nev probably feels like horrible for that. And like the same
Yeah.
thing happened on one when she stabbed Skeet Ulrich. I don't know if that was Sydney though. That might have just been like a stunt person in the I would imagine it probably would have been if they're like, have a umbrella that you're supposed to stab a specific pad on him for. But yeah, this has happened quite a bit in the franchise.
Um, Craig just mentioned something about the Hollywood sign. It's actually very hard to see. I was watching today that the one of the ideas for the opening scene was actually going to be like someone falling off the Hollywood sign. I thought that was interesting, but it would have been too
Yeah.
expensive.
Yeah, like to go up there and film. I think that it
Yeah.
was so like speaking of Cotton Weary, I don't think that Cotton Weary was originally supposed to be in the script. And they
Really?
had a character who was called Ben Damon, which was supposed to be like half Matt Damon, half Ben Affleck, I suppose.
Okay.
In the same vein as Angelina Tyler and yada yada yada. So he had like a girlfriend character, Christine, who I think she was supposed to be playing the Sarah Michelle Gellar role or the Cece role in Stab 2. And what was happening is that he was on his way to the premiere of Stab 2. And then she is
Mm.
kidnapped and brought to the Hollywood sign, and she's like hung from it, like in a very similar way of like Casey Becker being hung from
Oh.
the rope swing. So it was like kind of a callback, but also to do it in like a more like grandiose setting of the Hollywood sign.
That would
Now
have
I
been so
think of
cool.
like the Hollywood sign and I like think of like the
Maxine.
climax of Maxine,
I
yeah.
know. Which like
Would
yeah. I do love that they use the Hollywood sign though. I would love to see that more,
yeah, it
like
was
as
missed
like a
opportunity for what that movie was,
yeah.
but
Yeah.
yeah, it could have been an interesting location. But yeah, I think and then they decided no, let's bring back Cotton Weary and have him in the movie. Do you feel okay, so in terms of, this franchise has obviously killed off characters who've made multiple movie appearances, and Cotton would be one of them. Like, I guess, like, Cotton would be the second one after Randy.
Hmm.
Um, do you feel that that was right? Do you think that, like, killing Cotton was the way to go, or do you think that there was more that could have come from his character?
I think it's okay to kill him off. I think like I'm personally fine with him because in the second one he was just like the whole time he's kind of just like barking for fame, and then this
Yeah.
one I even wrote in my notes that like he's already so cocky. Like he has a TV show. I said Cotton is already very arrogant and very demanding.
Hmm.
He has his own show. He's like on the phone with his agent, like making calls about how much money he should be making for each of his jobs, and I'm like, for someone that's only been in this limelight for 2 years, he's like already kind of a jerk. So,
Mm.
I wouldn't. I'm fine with him getting cut out early.
Yeah. No, I think that they did everything that they could do with his character.
Yeah.
So I think it works fine for the opening scene. He's just not a character that it's just like it's not as impactful. Like I feel that like people always talk about like, characters coming back. Like there was a lot of speculation that Chad and Mindy were going to be the opening scene kill of
Mm.
Scream 7. And I always feel that it's more effective to just like have that be a new character because I think that like what I loved about Scream 2 is that they were able to get so much mileage out of these characters who had already been established that it's almost like throw them into the world and let them do their thing. Let the opening scene be like exclusive to a brand new character. So in a sense, I get it. I feel that like it sets up the mystery, and like Cotton isn't really a character that we're that emotionally attached to, just based on
Yeah.
what he is. But I don't think that I would ever want to see a returning character be the opening scene kill, if that makes sense,
Yeah.
outside of Cotton now.
Yeah, no, I agree. Because then that also just tells me that like the actor wasn't available or like I don't know, that it just puts more questions in my head
Yeah.
kind of thing. When it's
Hmm.
what do you call it? An Adrian King?
So it's the Adrian King. I mean, it wouldn't be the same thing with Cotton, but the Adrian
Yeah.
King, if your character gets Adrian King, it's when you are the final person of the previous movie or of the first movie, and then you're brought back
Okay.
for the
So more
sequel
like hostile. Yeah.
to be killed in the beginning. Which I mean, like you could look at like Rachel Carruthers in Halloween 5 or
Hmm.
whatever the situation is. And I feel like most famously, like the example I think of is Adrian King
Yeah,
in Friday the 13th Part 2.
totally.
And yeah, that
And
was
then
a
hostile, like
situation
you
of
said.
but uh the Laurie Strode resurrection special. Yeah, Laurie Strode. I mean, if there weren't so many timelines of Laurie Strode in Halloween, it would totally be the Laurie Stroding
Oh my
of
God, I was
for
dying at your
yeah.
trust issues thing where your trust issues began. And you said like and it was like the clip of her talking from that movie and like of
Oh yeah, because
Jamie Lee
like
Curtis being like, "No, it's a really good script. I really like it." And then it fast forwards to her, and she's like, "Oh, that was a horrible movie. That was terrible."
yeah, so yeah, it was like her doing press for it wasn't even press. It was like on set
Yeah,
uh,
interviews.
interviews for Halloween Resurrection, and she was really struggling to find the words to say something complimentary about Halloween Resurrection,
It's
and just
fun. It's
saying that like
modern.
it's just a very good
Yeah.
update of the Halloween story. And then
Then she
like
said she read the script and the script was great. She said she loved the script. I
I
thought
don't
that's what she
even
said. I thought she
yeah,
was like, "I love the script. It's a good script." I don't know.
I
That's what
mean yeah.
I
And then
thought.
like here we are like years later she's like, well, Halloween Resurrection was a joke. And
Yeah.
like she's I mean I'm all for full transparency. Like I don't think that she's doing anything wrong per se. Like when you are working on a movie, it is in your best interest to promote that movie and say that this
However
is
you
a good
can.
movie.
Hmm.
And then once the movie is come and gone and then years have passed and you can actually speak more freely, then you should. Like I understand that. But it's also one of those things where it's like I, it doesn't upset me, but I just find it funny when you see like the new Halloween movies come out and there's Jamie Lee Curtis and John Carpenter both up there talking about how wonderful this is and yada yada yada. And I'm just like, oh God, you guys hate this shit. Come on.
Yeah, I know.
Hmm.
It's all part of the fluff.
Absolutely. And I mean, yeah, it's what you got to do. But yeah, you were mentioning that so there's yeah, the kills in this movie are pretty much like one stab and you're done.
Hmm.
And if Chad was alive in the Scream 3 era, he probably wouldn't do so well. Maybe and if Jennifer
Yeah.
was in the Scream 6 era, she might have survived the movie.
Oh, it'd be nothing. It'd be like
But
a scratch. It'd be like a
yeah,
scratch.
but I think that it in terms of Scream 3, because there was a lot of pressure at the
Hmm.
time, because in 1999 there was the Columbine shooting, which really kind of affected the landscape of horror movies, like all of Hollywood. Like this is probably like you know seeped into action films as well, but like especially with horror, where
Like showing kids getting
studios,
killed
yeah.
specifically, right?
I mean, it wasn't.
Teenagers and
But the thing is, like, these aren't teenagers in this movie. They're
well, that's
they're
why
ad
they were
adults clearly,
changed. They were supposed to
but
be
well,
teenagers.
no, I think that they were always supposed to be adults. I don't know if it
I thought it
was.
was originally it was supposed to be a high school cult thing.
So yeah, Kevin Williamson had been hired to write a treatment for like a
Mm.
30-page treatment for what the story was going to be, and I think that it was partially that was a reason that was used. I think that mostly they just didn't like the story.
Oh.
It's because it was like a whole thing where like Stu was still alive and he was
Hmm.
kind of like he was in prison, but he was like running this cult and it was all these like high school students and nobody was really like people were getting killed, but it was all like an April Fool's Day thing where they like rise up at the end and it
Oh,
was
oh,
like,
I
no,
don't
we're
like that.
we're all part of a cult. And I think that the studio was like, we don't like that. Um, I I'm not sure what Wes Craven's opinion on it was. Like he's always very diplomatic with things, but he said that like they wanted to go a Hollywood route in terms of like they're now making it's like the evolution of this. We're now making the next movie of the stab thing. So it always kind of like went to that. So I think they let Kevin shoot his shot, is what I believe. But I think that like they didn't like it, but they kind of used that as a reasoning of just like, well, we're not going to do this because it's also, teenagers and like after
Yeah.
Columbine. But it's still like Columbine did affect this movie a lot because like that's why, like even like Sarah's death scene where she just gets stabbed once, but then when we come back and we see the aftermath when the cops are walking through there and there's just like blood like seeping, like
Hmm.
she was thrown through a glass window and there's just like all
Hmm.
this blood here, but like the intensity of the kill does not equate to like the aftermath that was shown to us. Um,
Hmm.
so there's just like a lot of that. Like every kill in this movie is like really chopped down to the point where you're not seeing it because they were really afraid of violence in cinema. Like that's the
Yeah.
conversation that like Roger Corman in his cameo when they're all like up there and just talking about how like they've got to like cut back on things, like the studio is worried, et cetera, and so forth. And it lasted for a while. I mean, I think like you mentioned Hostel, that came out in like 2005.
Hmm.
Saw came out in 2004. I feel like by that point, things had
Yeah.
shifted. It's funny because like things don't just shift; they like go all the way in the opposite like end of the
Hmm.
spectrum.
Yeah.
Where it's just like now we're just gonna be gory as fuck. But
Yeah.
like the tameness like lasted probably for like a good 2 years or something. I remember that Valentine came out like a year after
Mm.
Scream 3. And the studio, like they were actually like very lenient. They were like, okay, we can be a little bit more gruesome here, but the studio was like they were still a little trepidatious and they're like, no, we're gonna cut back a little. So there's like the moment in Valentine where the killer is beating the guy with the hot iron.
Hmm.
We only see two whacks, but apparently it was like originally 11 whacks. So
Oh.
there's, yeah, like it just like, I think people were a little squirrely for a while, but then, you know, uh, when did Freddy versus Jason can, because they didn't care about showing things in that movie. And yeah, by the time, Saw was out, it was just, you could only make movies. They would only accept movies if there was like an extreme amount of disgusting gore in it.
And well, actually, the first Saw wasn't extremely gory. It was more psychological. It became more gory as they went on.
Hmm.
I think it was like more like, yeah, psychological. It was dirty though, that's for sure. Like in that dirty era where everything
Yeah.
was like grimy and filthy.
Yeah, ugly movies that
Ugly,
we're trying to,
dirty,
yeah.
sticky.
Scream is a very pretty movie.
Yeah, all the screams are very, very pretty, and I love that.
Well, maybe not all of them, but yeah.
Well, like, even like Six, I love like how I mean I love the look of Six. I love how like New York City. Like, I would love to love Six. Um,
Yeah.
but I don't know, I
Hmm.
think they all look really nice though.
Yeah. Um,
And I do like how technology is still kind of new in this one. Like Dewey has a beeper and like Gale has a few different lines like, "Oh, your phone memory," and like, "Do you have caller ID on your phone?" Like, I don't know, I just love that little details. Like
yeah.
how technology was still new.
Yeah. You also mentioned like Sydney's sort of I guess like her sense of humor about things like even when it's not supposed to be funny, is something that I notice in this movie a lot. Like you're talking about like her confrontation with Roman. It's just like, do you know why you kill people, Roman? It's not like it's not even her being funny, but she's just like very quick-witted and she just like can like throw it back. And like the moment where she comes to the police precinct when like she meets Kincaid and Gale's there And it's like the killer called you. What did they say? And she's like, oh, the usual, like, how you doing? How you want to die? Like she's just so
Yeah.
cavalier about it.
So
Like she's been through it, and at this point, like the best thing she can do is kind of like face it with a sense of humor, and that's just how
yeah.
she deals with it.
She's 20 years old and she's acting like this like experienced cop that's like been on the job
She's
for 20 years.
she's a hardened, well, I wouldn't call her
Living alone
yeah.
recluse, 20-year-old recluse.
What do you suppose her zodiac sign is?
Ooh.
Since you
Well,
asked me this last week.
yeah. Um, I could see her being like a Capricorn.
That's what I think. Yeah.
I could see her being, and I
Yeah.
hope that I'm not just like subconsciously remembering what you said last week.
Yeah.
But I could just see her being a Capricorn. And also today's my dad's birthday and he's a Capricorn and it's Capricorn
January
season right now.
19th,
Yeah.
as we're recording this. You know who else's birthday it is?
Who?
Fictionally,
Oh
Buffy's
no, no, it's not. Oh,
Buffy
Buffy.
Summers.
Okay, I thought you were gonna
Yeah.
say Helen Shivers. I was like, no, it's not.
No, Helen is
Because I
like
don't know her birthday.
September
But
6th or so. Yeah,
Buffy's
yeah. No, Buffy is January 19th. She even says like she's
1981,
Capricorn
right?
on the
81?
cusp of Aquarius. 1981. She would be
Yep.
45 today.
Well, she will be.
She is. She is.
Yeah,
Because
she will be
yeah,
because the
yeah,
show's coming out soon,
yeah.
which well, let's
She died
see.
twice,
Hey,
and
I've died
she
twice.
might die more times, but she'll always come back.
That was one thing about Buffy, like, because then like she dies in season 5, and then she gets shot in season 6, and then she gets stabbed in season 7. I'm like, how many times are we gonna do it?
Yeah.
We almost don't feel bad anymore. Like Buffy, if you're gonna die, you're gonna die. Like let's get over it.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
I love Buffy though, yeah.
Capricorn Skellington in the chat is saying, I will def claim Sid. Craig thinks she's a Gemini. Um,
I don't know enough
I
about
don't know.
Geminis. Maybe she
I
could
feel
be.
like if she was a Gemini, she would be a lot more, I feel like chatty, maybe.
Chatty.
She's a little too reserved and aloof. Not in like a bad way. I think like her aloofness, like they're just like a protective, like she protects herself
I
and
wonder what she
the
was like
trust
before
issues.
her mom died. The one that the version of her that Billy
Yeah.
misses, the one that the one that he can't let go of.
I'm thinking now that you mentioned Buffy the Vampire Slayer, I'm just like comparing like the Christy Swanson pre finding out about her birth
Being a
rate
slayer.
to like who Sarah Michelle Gellar is playing the part. Like she's just going to the mall with like Tatum or whoever, and she's
Yeah.
approached by like seemingly homeless people. It's like excuse much rude or anything. Just a total see you next Tuesday, Sydney Prescott.
I think she was always probably sweet, but like I don't know. Do you think was Tatum like the popular girl in school, or do you think they were just like kind of like chill? No, the cheerleaders looked like the popular girls in the first
Was it?
movie.
But
That's
Tatum
right.
was on the cheerleading
Oh yeah,
squad in
you're
one.
right.
Yeah.
No, she was. Yeah. Like was
I
Sydney
mean,
popular? I don't know.
no, I think that you never know like how grief is going to change you as a person.
Yeah.
Um, and certainly I think like from the onset of like when we're introduced to Sydney, she always kind of like has this sadness underneath her. I mean, I feel like we even see it like especially like in her first scene, like when Billy leaves and she kind of turns around and there's almost like this like feeling of like regret or something. It's almost like she knows that like maybe she's not the same person as she is, or she can't
Oh.
let herself like open up or be the person that like people are expecting her to be.
And
Um,
she's afraid to have sex because she's afraid to be like her mom and like turn into a
yeah,
big slut.
yeah,
Yeah.
that's very true as well. So I don't know. I don't think that I need to know what Sydney was like before her life.
Hmm.
Sydney, what I love about Sydney is that she's such a like forward momentum kind of character. She
Hmm.
doesn't live in the past. She's always kind of just like, like we can go from like Scream 3 to Scream 4 or Scream 4 to 5. And I fully hope that this is the same case with from like 5 to 7 of her coming back. And Nev plays it in such a way that it's just like it's not in the script, but you can see it in her performance, and there's just sort of like this world weariness to her, but it's just like it feels like it's there's a life lived. And I always get that in the character because it's like Ghostface and Stab and all that is not who she is. It's something that like ha happened to her and like has happened to her at varying points. Whereas like Gale is someone who is like this is her life very
Hmm.
much, and she's all about that. But with Sydney, I always get the sense of like she's got relationships, she's got friends, she's doing other things. And I think that only really in this movie do I see like kind of like the writing of like her being a recluse and like hiding away. But every other time, like even like between one and two, I feel like I don't recognize her at first, but I can see her underneath that. Like we come to the character, but it feels like she's grown. A lot of stuff has
Yeah.
happened, and she's just become like a more well-rounded, well-developed person throughout the years because of that. So it's never in the writing, but it's just like the way that she plays it always comes off. So just a little shout out to Nev Campbell. I think she's
And
amazing
her
in this
amazing
job.
acting. No, but
Yeah,
she really does. She knows how to like live, make the character feel lived in,
yeah.
um, as opposed to feeling like fresh and new every single time. It just feels like she just knows this character and
Sh- It's
you
not
know,
like a Jamie Lee Curtis coming back and playing Laurie Strode,
right? Where it
and
has
it's
to be a
just like,
big deal every time.
who is this character again? I'm just gonna make up.
Yeah.
I'm gonna make up a new character. Don't worry,
Yeah. How
guys.
am I
It's
feeling
yeah,
today?
yeah,
Like,
yeah,
what
yeah,
goes along with the narrative right now?
yeah. Craig is
Yeah.
saying she is chatty with her phone service. Like, okay, come on. I can tell that you're a Gemini by that response, but yeah, I don't think that she is one. I was actually
Well,
watching. Oh no, go ahead.
oh no, it was just a joke about like, well, you know who wasn't in her phone call? Like you said that there was like two people. There was Dewey and her dad. You know who
Yeah.
wasn't in that little call list in this movie? Her aunt, Jill's mom.
Oh my God.
So I
Or
wonder when they
yeah.
when did they reconnect? They reconnected sometime after that, like because she must have
Yeah.
known her whole life, but she was just wasn't that close.
I mean, it's a case of just like the character not being canonized yet, for
Oh,
sure.
totally. But I just love to think about that. That I'm like, if this was a real character,
Yeah.
where were you the whole beginning of her
Maybe they
life?
had a falling out and then just got back together closer to 2011. But
It wasn't until
yeah,
after she left Hollywood that her aunt reached out and was like, "Honey, you can always call me.
I
You can
love that
always stay
you,
with me."
I love that you say aunt and not
Her,
aunt. Her aunt.
oh yes, I don't know if that's an East Coast thing, but I say aunt.
Aunt.
Yeah.
Yeah, I could go either way, but I just like aunt. It just feels so proper, so prim and
Well, now that
proper.
we've said it so many times, aunt sounds weird, but aunt sounds like I never
Aunt.
understood aunt. Like my
Yeah,
aunt Marjorie. Like I don't know, I've never understood it.
yeah,
Because
yeah.
where's the U? Where'd you put the U?
I don't know. I mean,
What?
I guess so, like restaurant,
Like, did you say route
rest,
or root growing up? I always said root growing up.
route, route. I mean, I could. I feel like I'm versatile with a lot of pronunciations of things, and I think especially
Mm.
because like being Canadian, the spelling of words as well. I feel like I just naturally now like acclimate to whatever the American way is. Because it's like, why do I need to add in that extra letter anyway? Just like it doesn't, we don't
Yeah,
need the
true.
U. Just get the U out of there.
Take the U out
Um,
of of aunt.
yeah. Yeah.
Um, Emma, this is funny. Nobody cares about your scars, Kate.
Yeah.
Literally, Kate, you're not even in my
Yeah.
phone, Kate.
But we do have Martha Meeks introduced in this movie, and that's a character that like
Mm.
clearly is was used and brought back and is now part of this whole legacy of Randy's niece and nephew. So
Mm-hmm.
that's I like that kind of, at least building off of characters because yeah, I guess Scream 4 needed to have the aunt character and the cousin character, so they were invented for the role. But
Yeah.
yeah. The whole thing with her coming onto the stab lot though was always like another contrivance, and they even talk about this in the commentary, just
Mm.
like how are we gonna like describe her getting there? Like I think she was there for like some game show or whatever. They were like throwing out all these excuses, and then it just got to the point where they're like, we're just not even gonna mention it, and nobody's gonna think about it.
That's so true. Like they
Yeah.
gave Gale such a hard time, but this like random girl has no
And
problem getting on the set.
especially with all this security, there's even a deleted scene, and maybe this is why it was deleted. but it was like before Sarah's kill, like before, like she's at the security gate,
Hmm.
and she drives up and she's like, "Oh, hey, I'm just like going into like read lines with the director." And he's like, "Do you have your pass?" And she's like, "No, I don't have my fucking pass. Like that's my face up on the banner there." And there's like this whole thing of her just arguing with the security guard.
Hmm.
But yeah, I was gonna say I was just speaking of Nev Campbell, I was watching a little bit of Wild Things yesterday.
Mm.
Because I just absolutely love that movie. It's so great. And I mean, it's 1998, so it's like close enough to this time. But I always think that her character in that movie is like if they wrote a Ghostface killer to be like Susie from Wild Things, like
Mm.
that would
Yeah.
automatically be the best Ghostface killer. I even told Nev
Oh,
Campbell that
totally.
when I
That'd
met
be
her,
great.
and she agreed. I felt so honored to have her agree with me. But I'm sure she probably agrees with everyone when they come up to her in those conventions. So
Yeah. Like if she
yeah.
wasn't playing Sydney in Scream, like if she played that other character, she would be a really great Ghostface killer.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah.
Which is like her versatility as an actor, her range
Hmm.
to like I mean I wouldn't really classify her as a villain. I mean I guess everyone's kind of a villain in Wild Things, like they're all shitty people, but
Yeah.
like not the same way that like a Ghostface killer is. Like you kind of root for her in Wild Things.
Hmm.
And I
And
think
I
that's
have,
another thing. We need killers that we can root for.
yes, but
Yeah.
I've never wanted Sydney to be a killer. I've never wanted her to like,
No.
I know, I've never wanted her to be the killer. All those theories of
Yeah.
like, maybe Sydney will be the killer next time. I don't, I hope not.
She's gonna snap, and I
Yeah.
feel like in a way Sam is the answer to that of just like the fans who are just like one of these days like Sydney's gonna snap and she's gonna be the killer sort of thing, and that's maybe what they were like trying to do with Sam.
Yeah. I feel like they were definitely gonna go that way. Like kind of like that the new Strangers trilogy.
I've only seen the first one of it.
That's what it seems like they're trying to do with that.
Yeah.
So dumb.
Yeah, I don't care for that franchise. I mean, like
Yeah.
we've covered the most of the movie. We didn't cover the most recent one, um, back with Edward, but yeah, I still have to watch it. I know the third one is coming out sometime soon, but yeah,
Some
not my jam.
Something really interesting about this movie was that Matthew Lillard was paid for this movie, even though he wasn't in it, because he was supposed to
Oh,
be. So like, I saw an interview that he did, and he said that he was paid for the movie, but yeah, they took him out of it. So it's kind of like the same thing that
that's
happened to Sean Wayans or Marlon Wayans for Batman Returns. Like he got paid for the
mhm.
role of playing Robin, even though he wasn't even in the movie.
Oh wow, I didn't even know that. And I love
Yeah,
Batman Returns. I
I
think
know.
that if there was something, maybe it was like contractual with the whole Kevin Williamson thing, and maybe they like gave him like an upfront paycheck of just sort of like, yeah, you're gonna be in this sort of thing, and then it fell through, but it's just like you've already paid them and like signed a contract, so you can't,
Mm-hmm.
rescind that and take the money back. So I think that they just like ate their costs
Yeah.
with that. I don't
Yeah.
imagine that it was a large amount. Like,
Probably not.
he's
Maybe.
telling the story, but he's probably leaving out like a lot of details about things. But
Yeah.
at the same time, like, did he say this in an interview, or was it just something that was like you saw on the internet?
It was an interview. I would have
Okay.
to find it, but it was coming from his mouth.
Yeah. I mean, if it for sure if it's coming from his mouth, because I've read a lot of things regarding both Matthew Lillard and Jamie Kennedy. And when I met Jamie Kennedy, there's like these things that I asked him about. And he was like, he's like, this is why you can't trust anything that you like hear on the internet. He's like, I don't know what the fuck that is. Like, I've never heard that before. This is like, I was not privy to any sort of meeting where they talked to me about coming back for four. And I'm like, okay.
Mm.
And I'm just so you know that this is trivia that is like on the internet. And yeah.
Yeah. There's like on YouTube you can look up like Scream interviews and it's like a look back or like something like that. And so yeah, Matthew Lillard, like there's one for Scream 2, then there's one for Scream 3, and he's in the Scream 3 ones, and he talks about it.
Oh, wow.
That's what it was.
I mean, well, as we mentioned last week, he is in Scream too. So,
Yes, with his blondie little blonde hair.
yeah. So I guess, and now with whatever capacity he'll be in Scream 7, that'll put him to 3,
Because that
I
is his
believe. Yeah.
voice, right? In the
I think that's his
trailer.
"This is gonna be fun" or whatever he
Yeah, I
says.
think that's
Yeah.
him. Yeah,
Yeah.
we'll see what happens. Because I know half the internet wants him
Yeah.
to be alive.
I'm seeing like a lot of like comments being because I'll just like have a video where it's like, yeah, and Stu's dead. And people are like, no, he's not. He's in the new movie coming out
Hmm.
and he's gonna be revealed as alive. And I mean, if that happens, great, whatever.
Yeah.
I just don't. I think that people are like playing into the hype of it to think that it's like, because if
Hmm.
he was coming back like in like alive, don't you think that they probably would have not like kept that like a secret, like just didn't reveal anything and it would have been a surprise when you see it. But like they've
True.
like even like you look at the um whatchamacallit, what's the Spider-Man movie. This is how bad I am with like MCU stuff, but like whatever the Spider-Man movie is where they brought back Tobey Maguire and Andrew Garfield. And
Oh yeah.
that was like it was never confirmed officially by the studio or anything, but it was like people knew they were like talking about it, so it was like a well-known
Mm.
thing that was
Hmm.
happening. But like in this case, like the studio has like full on, like even with the trailer, they're like Matthew Lillard is going to be in this. Matthew Lillard has been all over the internet being like, I'm
Yeah.
gonna be in Scream 7. I think that if it was a thing where he was actually alive, they would
Hmm.
have kept like if we were hearing about it, it would have been a leak rather than a full on, look what's
Well, I
going on
hope so
here.
because like with the whole like how they try to make like the Stumacher house in 5 be a big reveal, even though they had it all in the promotional material. But then like the
Yeah.
way that they filmed it in the movie was like this big pull out twist, like that's the house, and it's like yeah, but that's what I don't know. So they're not
Do you
very good at
think do you think that you would have
reveals.
do you think that if you had not seen that promotional material, that you would have known that that was the house when we first go into it in Scream 5?
Unfortunately, we'll never know. But
Yeah.
but I'm not sure. Maybe because like the paint, it was all painted differently, and like and the way that they shot it too is lots of like close-ups, like tight shots. Like you didn't
Yeah.
see a lot of it. So I don't know if I
Yeah.
would have.
I think that it was like because like we were seeing the living room and whatnot. And at one point, and maybe this actually came after the reveal because I remember Mindy watching like the scene of Randy
Yeah, that
on
of
the couch, and
course is
it's like
obvious.
it's not even is this like the same house, but like I think that they shot Stab in this same house or whatever it was that was going on here. But no, I think that's funny because like in Scream 3 with like the set and everything,
Hmm.
um I know that they purposefully didn't show a lot in the establishing scene where Gale goes into the set and we're
Hmm.
meeting all the cast members, even though they're like sitting on the front porch. And I think that it's pretty obvious that that's Woodsboro or whatever, it's like Stu's house. But I guess like the way that they wanted to do it was like hold back as much as possible so that then for the scene where Sydney goes onto the set, that was the first time that we are really seeing all the stuff like the garage door in her bedroom and whatnot.
Yeah. Yeah, no, and I loved all that. I loved it so
Yeah.
much. I thought it was so cool, like the how just playing with the idea of like opening a bedroom door and there's nothing there because it's just a set. Like
Hmm.
and all that's so much fun.
Yeah, and just yeeting Ghostface off over the
Yeah.
edge onto the bed. Yeah, it was amazing. I think that was if it was both of them, like Angelina and Roman, I think
Hmm.
that was Angelina that is thrown onto the bed for sure. And then because that was the same one that was hiding in the closet because they did the whole like Scream 1 repeat over
Hmm.
again. So
Yep.
Roman would have been the one that was like that crashed through the window and like pulled her out at first.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
but then I feel like there had to be two because how did he go from being underneath the blanket, like talking in the mom's voice, to going
Yeah.
outside the window
Hmm.
and pulling her through?
Yeah, well, because she was upstairs and the killer was downstairs. So I guess like the theory is that like if that was Roman, he would have been thrown down and then like run out of that room and then gone and found like a ladder or something that like brought him up to the
Yeah.
second story again. Um, it's whatever. I just Roman has warping
Gotta go with
abilities
it. Yeah, we have to just
in this
go
movie.
with it.
There's so many things in Scream 3 that you just have to go with. And
Hmm.
I feel like there's still like enough cause and effect that it works. Like it just like tells like a very, understandable um like kind of like fully thought out story. Whereas like, in the new ones, it feels like it's just sort of like stuff happening. And then it's just like you could rearrange it. So I'm, even though that there's holes, because there's lots of holes in the new ones, but with this one, I feel that it's easier to digest them, if that makes sense.
Yeah. Well, I'm hoping that this new one, I'm feeling optimistic. I'm hoping that Scream 7 with Kevin being
Yeah.
back, I'm hoping that like because I know that he didn't write it, but I'm hoping that he'll be able to
Yeah.
have some influence over the writing.
Yeah. Apparently he did. Like I think that he did have a lot of influence or like he's credited as a writer on it. So we'll see. We will see. That'll be, in a few weeks when we eventually cover it. We still got to make our way through the rest of the screams, but I think that that
Yeah.
might be a good opportunity to head over to the cherry picker.
It's not like we kill people on purpose.
Okie dokes, we need a cherry on top. Who do you think?
It might be the same as your original cherry on top for Scream 3.
Yeah.
Is it Parker Posey? That's who it is for me.
It's got to be Parker Posey, Jennifer Jolie. We didn't even
Jennifer.
really talk about her a whole lot. I mean, we mentioned her, but she is the movie. Like when I think of her,
Yeah.
I
Like
just think everything.
I love her. I love the switch that she has when she first meets Gale. She's like automatically trying to ask kiss, ask kiss, ask kiss, but then like when Gale shuts her down, you see her like flip her hair and she like starts walking differently. Like she starts walking with a little more confidence and she's like, "Yeah,
Hmm.
well, sorry to hear about 60 minutes too, Gale." But like and suddenly she's like the
Yeah,
real Jennifer and I love that flip that
yeah.
we saw.
Actually, I think that Jennifer Jolie might be a Gemini.
Ah, see that would
Yeah,
make sense. Yeah.
Gemini Jolie. Sorry, that was terrible. Or Judy Jurgenstern, as we find out is her stage name.
Judy Gemini
Um,
Jurgenstern.
we and not that she's cherry on top, but we have to also mention Carrie Fisher in
Oh
her
yes.
her
She's wonderful.
cameo.
And apparently she like inputted a lot of her like she had a lot of input in her dialogue, her lines.
Yeah,
Like
well, she
they
was
did
completely on board, just like, make fun of me as much as you
well
need to.
yeah. Well they were like, why don't we just cast Carrie Fisher? Because like, the line was in the script about like being like, Carrie Fisher, they're like, what if we just casted her? And I think that's really cool
Hmm.
that they were able to do that and she like added in some dialogue or something. But I
Yeah,
love her so
good
much.
for her. Yeah.
Yeah.
But definitely prefer her role here over, what it was in Sorority Row to bring it back around to that movie with its confusing, weird
Oh, that's
weapon
right.
thing. Yeah.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah. Okay. So last week we asked you who deserves to die the most in Scream 2. And across Patreon, Instagram, and YouTube, the final vote tally was 229 for Chief Hartley, which was my nomination,
Mhm.
versus Officer Andrews, the Don't Ask, Don't Tell.
Don't ask, don't tell.
And he got 309. So it
Really?
looks like, yeah,
I won?
you did.
That is awesome. Yeah, people just, I mean, he bugged me. Don't
Yeah.
ask, don't
Don't ask, don't
tell.
ask, don't tell.
Stop being goofy, buddy, and drive the car.
Khan says, I always found the drama professor to be a bit odd. Like, are we supposed to think he may be a ghost face? I don't know, but he ain't one of the options, so I don't know. Jackie Simmons, Andrews must go. One of Hartley's two best detectives. Good grief. Why wasn't he scoping out the scene on a deserted street during a murder spree? Peripheral vision failed him, and it cost him big. I mean, if we're gonna say like Hartley's best, I mean, isn't that more, it starts at the top. He's the one that fucking put him in charge. but I concede. Uh, Nicholas Wetzel, Sydney was being threatened by the killer in the library, and this Andrews dude just scoops her up and puts her in a secluded corner, allowing Cotton's Diane Sawyer obsessed self to get all up in her face. His
Hmm.
actions as poor reactive driver also result in his death, his partner's death, and Hallie's. Quit making jokes to the back seat and keep your eyes on the road, sir.
Yeah.
Blue Box 87. Hi, Tim. No, I really mean that. Hi. Hartley. Useless. Gale did all the work for him. He really did. She really did. Uh, Jesse Ray Cat. Officer Andrews is a hottie and the first openly gay character in the Scream franchise. He deserves to live. I vote for the chief. Grant Dempsey. The fish stinks from the tail, I suppose. Bye bye, Andrews. And Silent Saturn, Chief Hartley gets my vote. After Sheriff Burke being a reasonably competent law enforcer in the predecessor for a horror movie anyway, he's a big step down. Also, don't bury your gaze, Tim.
What?
Don't bury your gaze.
Bury my days. Oh, bury my
Gaze.
gaze.
Your
Oh,
gaze.
but wait,
Not
how
like
do
your
we know he's
gaze, but a gaze. How do
no,
we
but how do we
know?
know he's gay though? Because someone said he's openly gay. How would we know he's
Look,
openly
I think
gay?
that like if Sydney like reads you as gay, I trust her instincts, you know?
She read him as gay?
Yeah.
When did she say he was gay?
So in the cafeteria, when she comes and sits down, and they're like, "Are those the bodyguards over there?" And she's like, "Yeah." And they're like, "Which one is Kevin Costner?" And she's like, "The one on the left is yada yada yada." Like the older one is like divorced, father of two. He's a Capricorn.
Oh my God.
Um, and then the one on the right is a Gemini, single. And Hallie's like, "Ooh," and she's like, "But I think he's gay." And that's the same
Oh
one
my
who
God.
says like, "Don't ask,
Now
don't
that you're
tell."
saying
Like,
this, I'm like, I totally remember that. That's so
yeah,
funny. But I
yeah.
guess, yeah, that always went over my head. That's so
Sydney
funny.
Amethyst is saying Sydney didn't read Billy and Stu as gay though. Well, I mean, she hadn't honed in on her skill yet.
Yeah. Should have
And
developed it.
I don't know if Billy is gay. Like I think that if there is a thing, it's Stu, and Billy is just kind of like, you know, playing along to
Yeah.
get him to do his thing. I don't get a gay vibe from Billy.
Unfortunately.
Yeah,
No. Yeah.
unfortunately. So yeah, you get first dibs.
Woo!
Yeah, Scream 3.
So for this one, I guess, which I think this was also an option the last time, but I would have to say Milton just because he's just like a disgusting pig of a character that is pretty much Harvey Weinstein. So yeah.
Okay. Okay. In that case, I'm probably just gonna nominate my pick from before, the
Which
last
was
time, which was I forget the character's name. I think I just called him like smug reporter student, who's the guy in Gale's like introduction scene when he's like, "Tell me, was it worth it, Miss Weathers?"
Oh my God, do you know who
Yeah,
that is?
it's David Arquette's brother.
Yes, that is. And I thought that was really
Yeah,
cool. I just learned that today, so I was
yeah.
excited. But yeah,
Um,
that's very, yeah, so you want him to die the most?
I want him to die the most because I feel like she never got to like I just would have liked her to get a good barb in there or something, or like just read him for filth. I just feel like
Yeah. Because you
he
know
doesn't
he
need to
left class and he was like, I just told off Gale Weathers.
he doesn't need to die, but he just needs to be like mocked and laughed at by this like all like she just needed to say something and they'll have to like look at him and be like, "Ah, idiot." Um so that guy, I have no idea what his name is. So Amethyst will know for sure. But yeah, the rematch of smug journalist versus John Milton. That's what we're
Yep.
calling this
It
one
is a rematch.
for now. But yeah, if you want to vote, please go do that, you can do that at several places. You can go over to patreon.com/Zach Cherry. And even if you're not subscribed or supporting, like you can vote there. It's an extra place. If you want to go to the other places and vote and then go to Patreon and vote as well, you get two votes. If it's really that important to you. I feel like it's important to me.
Yeah.
But while you're there, just become a free member and then maybe you'll want to upgrade someday. You don't have to do it this day, but it's there as an option. Head over to Instagram at the Cherry Picker Pod and follow us there. I have the little poll up in the stories, and then on YouTube in the post section, vote your heart, vote your conscience, subscribe to us. If you are on YouTube right now and you want to listen to this instead, the RSS feed link is in the descriptions down below. Tim, where can they find you on the socials?
I am on Instagram at Tim McKay Beauty.
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 And you can find me on my main YouTube channel, Zack Cherry, Zack space Cherry. Instagram and Letterboxd is Retro Bitch Face, all one word, and then Twitter is Zack Cherry 8. We already told you, but we'll remind you again that next week is what movie are we doing?
Misery, I believe.
Misery.
That was the winner.
That was the winner. Winner, winner, chicken dinner. Misery from 1990. But then after
I
that,
I hope it's a winner that people actually wanted to win, unlike Trick or Treat, which like nobody really cared about.
shots fired. I think that you didn't care about Trick or Treat.
You didn't care about Trick or Treat.
Look,
Please.
don't start a thing here. I wasn't gonna say anything. Um, I really do love Misery, though. I think that that's
Hmm.
like a five-star movie, so I'm happy
Yeah,
to talk about it. And we've been meaning to talk about it for a long time before this, so it just happened to work out that way. But
perfect.
yeah, that's gonna be next week, and then Scream 4 is going to be the week after that, beginning in February, all the way up to Scream 6, and then we'll be covering Scream 7 in March after that releases. So thank you very much for watching. Thank you very much for listening, and we will be right back.